Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. It is I, Colton Robertson, and today I am again joined by Joseph George. What is up, homie?
What up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. It's been a little bit, been about a week since we sat down and discussed this topic. And I've had a chance to tinker with the list and such with newer releases and things. Top 100 comic book characters, part 2. Today we're talking 75 through 51 in our rankings. Last week part 1 was 100 through 76. We're doing 4 parts. Each is 25. Last one will be top 25. It's nice and neat, and so very, very excited. We're kicking it off with 75 today. And I've got a better balance of Marvel DC, I feel like, in this episode than I did last week.
Ooh. Yeah, I think mine's still pretty Marvel dominated, but
I think this will be the episode featuring the most DC characters for me.
Okay.
But yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 DC characters in this one. So I guess maybe, actually, now that I think about it, the most dense packed for me. In one part, actually. Yeah,
I've got 11 in this episode.
Because I'm thinking about how many DC I have total, and 6 is probably like a good chunk.
A good chunk of it, yeah.
So.
All right, cool. So let's kick it off. I'll start with my 75, and I'll stick with the Marvel realm for now with Doctor Strange's Wong. I love Wong, man, and can't wait for him to get expanded upon a little bit more. He's just been kind of around. He hasn't gotten a lot of story. He's just been
the Sorcerer Supreme.
The Sorcerer Supreme, my man. And yeah, he's a really cool character. I love him in the MCU, and it's interesting reading those early comic books, the early Doctor Strange comics, where there is a character named Wong around, and it's like, wow, this is one of the OGs in Doctor Strange's stories. And it's cool to have seen him brought to life. In a really entertaining and funny fucking way. He is hilarious on screen a lot of the time. I think he obviously has a lot of great moments in the MCU. Shang-Chi specifically is one that immediately pops to mind whenever he's fighting in the cages up there. But one of my favorite little, like, absolutely comic booky moments, like Endgame blowing itself, was whenever Wong went, what you wanted more? And then Ant-Man burst through as a fucking giant. It's like, that couldn't have been more Endgame going, yeah, we're going to do whatever the fuck we want, Yeah,
I watched, actually there's like this, I don't know if you watch Corridor, but they do a lot of VFX breakdowns and stuff, and they just did one where, like, the main Marvel guy he's Bucky, he was Iron Man, he's Cap, he's like, did the stunts for like every Marvel movie starting from like Civil War and like pretty much onwards.
Gotcha.
And he said that like in Endgame, like he's part of the whole creative process too, like up there with Kevin Feige and like Jon Favreau. Like he talks with them and like knows everything before the movies and stuff.
Gotcha.
And he said for Endgame, like what they try to do with their fights is they just, every single character, they have like their figures on a table, and they just have to give each character their moment, like every character their moment. And he said, some people don't think that Marvel really sticks to the comics, but like you look at certain frames and they're like exactly out of the comics. And they show like a just like literal compilation of frame from Endgame comic, like strip, frame from Endgame like just so many of them and stuff. And it was cool to see that like like they actually like are very like methodical in how they think all the fight scenes out and having to give everyone their moment. And
I love that, and I think it's I do understand gripes with a lack of comic accuracy, but like when it's in favor of newer and better stories, I'm always be frankly maybe not better, but newer stuff I haven't read, stuff I can't go online and go, oh, this is how this is going to end. Yeah, I don't know why you would want that. Like I just don't get the gripes with not like I like direct adaptations, like on the DC side of things, I like the Long Halloween animated movie and Batman Year One animated movie and stuff like that, but like they're not like my favorite Batman movies, like they're I
true.
I just enjoy watching them casually, and like that's not what I'm here for with the MCU. I'm here for you to expand the story we've built here, and I don't think comic accuracy is strictly needed step by step.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean we still get all the comic book moments that we want.
Exactly, like, we still get these comic accurate moments. Yeah. It's like I don't need more than moments,
Mm-hmm. And like, come on, I don't know, like they do. It's ever since I've been rewatching like Marvel movies and stuff, like just really, I don't know, under a different lens and stuff that like I just watch like movies in now. It's just like, I don't know, like just the dedication they have to put into making everything line up and making sure there's no plot holes and like everything like that. Like just insane how much they're balancing, and like the standard that we set for Marvel is just so high. And then like you go into any other movie, like I like not like a Batman, but like Scream, for example. I saw Scream recently, and it was just like a movie that was like, it's not to the standard that like Marvel or like a Batman movie is at. It was just like a normal movie that was just entertaining to watch, and it kind of like, I don't know, it's like a whole different league. Like whenever you're going into a Marvel movie,
I feel you. Yeah, I recently went and saw Uncharted in theaters with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg, and it was entertaining as fuck, and I enjoyed it. But like, there is something different about superhero movies for me. They just bring me a great deal of comfort that I'm just not going to get out of most other movies. And if I do get that comfort out of other movies, I know it was damn good. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Speaking of mashing those two together and continuing the list here,
yes, yeah.
A new comfort movie that has become a very quick comfort movie for me is Eternals, and this is where all the Eternals for me kind of lie in my list. They're all together for me, and I started with Thena, just because her character design and everything is super badass, but I think her character just falls to the side in this movie. It's just kind of like her mind is lost and whatever. Like there's cool aspects to her story, but like with that, it kind of pushes her character off to the side just naturally, like just with how the story has to go.
And it's interesting. I feel like unless we're talking about Cersei and Icarus, every single character story fell victim to that. Like it was like we just have such a big story that like because Gilgamesh and Thena's relationship and Gilgamesh ultimately seeing his demise and stuff, and then Thena avenging him, like that's the entire arc there. I mean, there's some emotional nuance as you're watching it and stuff, but that's the story arc. Like that's what happens. Is Gilgamesh looks after Thena, Gilgamesh is killed, Thena avenges Gilgamesh, and like that's real simple, real easy, and it's mad entertaining, but it is unfortunate for the characters. I want those character pieces, and I feel like Thena would have been a great subject, and for me personally was more properly executed than some of the other characters in the movie. But yeah,
I think it's just it's not like like I love like all of them. They're all in the same place, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
They're all like one after the other. So like Thena being at the bottom of the list for Eternals isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, it's pretty much that's kind of how I was, because they're pretty much tied. I just had to kind of throw them in an order.
But yeah, definitely surprising how much I watched that movie and go back to it for being just like a 3 hour, long movie basically.
Well,
that I chunk out all the
crazy
time now.
Is like I remember complaints of from some people about Eternals being too long. Like it's but it's a 2-hour and like 35-minute movie, and that's including credits. The Batman is 20 minutes longer than that, and I've seen far less complaints about its length, which is really interesting. Just
I'd say the Batman, like, it doesn't feel as long as the Eternals, though, even though it is longer.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, there is a difference, but still in the Eternals, it doesn't feel like I'm in there dragging.
Oh no, absolutely not. It's just a really, really good and entertaining movie. It's one of the only Marvel movies. I keep track of every movie I watch right now. I've been tracking it, keeping it down, numbering it. That number will not be shared. It's ridiculous. But Eternals is one of the only Marvel movies I've gone and rewatched this year. Like, watched it multiple times. I think it might be the only Marvel movie I've done that with so far, besides maybe Captain Marvel. It is interesting what's emerging as like my comfort movies on the Marvel side. Like, because I kind of go through rotations. Like, Shang-Chi was definitely the comfort movie for Marvel for like a couple months there. But like, I watched it a ton, like very quickly. So I was like, all right, got to take a break from it. I'll revisit it soon. Captain Marvel's kind of been where I've been falling lately. I don't know why. It's just been catching my eye.
Movie.
Oh, it's so good.
That Nick Fury and Captain Marvel, like, that combo, it never gets old. Like, just seeing them interact and her story. I mean, yeah.
I had a nice little Samuel L. Jackson trilogy the other day for a snow day. I watched Pulp Fiction in the morning, followed it up with Revenge of the Sith, and then finished the day off with Captain Marvel.
Wow,
it was such a good movie day.
What a range of characters.
Yeah, right.
Wow, that's awesome. But yeah, I guess. So
yeah, 75 was Thena. I got to Sam Jackson somehow, but here we are. This is how we do things.
There we go.
10 minutes in, and we've got 75 done. 74.
Yes.
I'm heading to the Black Panther side of the universe, and I'm going Okoye. I love me some Okoye. Loved her in Black Panther specifically. That's far and away my favorite appearance from Okoye. I liked her in Infinity War. The little jokes she made, like when we were opening the borders, I expected like the Olympics, maybe a Starbucks, not inviting war into our home.
Fair.
Yeah, all right.
It's kind of funny to think of what the people in Wakanda, are jealous of the rest of the world, because it's like a utopia basically there.
Yeah.
Like, what could you be jealous of? Like, what could you
want
more?
We have all this, but I would like to be able to participate in the Olympics. I would like a Starbucks on the corner. You know what I'm saying? I thought that I love her in Black Panther though. She's my favorite moment in Black Panther is when she comes face to face with Daniel Kaluuya, and he asks like, "Would you really do that to me?" She's like, "For Wakanda, no question." Like I'm like, no, damn, bro, she's not even. And that's when he's like, all right, drops his shit. He's like, all right, guys, surrender. That's that. When he fucking gets the rhino and starts running at her, and Okoye just like steps in front of T'Challa, and the rhino stops and licks her face. That's fucking awesome. Like, that's I love me some Okoye. She's had some great moments on screen, and she's a super badass. Super badass.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Oh yeah. Yeah. Continuing on with my Eternals, it only felt right to put Gilgamesh next to Thena.
Naturally. That's it. It happened the same on mine, but just a little bit ago, 79, 78, Thena, Gilgamesh.
And Gilgamesh, the only reason he kind of beats out Thena, or the only reason he's above Thena, is there's just a little bit more. I feel for him a little bit more, or like there's more emotional resonance with him. Like I guess, I don't know, Athena's death is super sad, and I don't know. I feel like whenever Gilgamesh died, I was like more devastated. I was like, no, not Gilgamesh. Like I don't know. I was like, he's just like a big teddy bear.
He had this just softness and this wisdom to him that like it was like You know what? Yeah, like if Ajax was the mother figure, Gilgamesh was the father figure for the Eternals. You know, like he was the
Oh
one
yeah.
that kind of looked to and were like, he was the level head who could provide a perspective that was very sensible. You know, and
Mm.
yeah,
Oh,
it ultimately is basically a sacrifice play when he sacrifices himself for Thena essentially, and that's an automatic resonance, and you know it coming full circle whenever she goes ahead and offs Crow.
oh,
I loved it.
man. And the fact that he was like, all this that we did, if I had to do it again, like within a heartbeat,
I'd do it
you
on
know, he
any
was like,
planet.
yeah, like no matter. And I was just like, oh my god, dude, come on. Then you have the moment where he's just like, oh, I'm a big baby, you know. So
Oh,
you
I'm
have
a
these
big baby.
super,
Oh
like, I don't
man,
know.
I can't tell you how much pain I had in my heart when they told him Ajax died and he dropped his pie.
Oh, oh my
That
god.
shit hurts my soul. I'm like, not the pie, bro. That's you just worked so hard on that.
In a spit beer,
Oh, spit beer,
or
yeah.
spit ale,
I
or I don't
ferment
know
each
what.
kernel in my spit. Kingo's like,
The dude knows his way around the kitchen though.
that's for
I
sure.
feel like I could have a good feast over at Gilgamesh's place.
Yeah. Gilgamesh, definitely the dad of the group.
Mm.
Yeah, I fucks with Gilgamesh for sure.
Mm.
With that onto my 73, which is where I'm taking it to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This is where I've got Xialing, sister to Shang-Chi. Really, really loved her character in that movie. One of the highlights of that film for me, whenever she pops up as being the person running the underground fight ring, she founded it at like 16 or 17 or something, like, holy shit, what a badass, you know, and her taking over the operations at the end of that movie, and her wearing her mother's robes and training in Talo with her brother alongside everyone in the village. Like, it was just such a great character, and I look forward to whatever the future is with her. There's only one thing I wish she could have got, and it was closure with her dad. Her dad just died in an interaction with Shang-Chi, and she was just like flying by like, oh, okay.
It would have been nice to have them both there.
Yeah,
I
but
guess.
you know, it is what it is. We'll see where that story heads, and if there's something greater out there for Xialing down the line.
I think that definitely there is. I mean, they wouldn't have showed her like taking over her father's place and like her new compound.
And they gave us the stamp, like the guarantee. The 10 rings will return. Like, she is coming back with the 10 rings. That's a guarantee. That's one of the things they were like, that's one we will book. We are going that route, which I really, really fuck with.
I don't know. Do you think there's a Val or any power broker? I don't know. I couldn't get the broker part. Like connection there. I feel like, I don't know, this crime world, maybe Kingpin somewhere. I don't know. Like trying to think of all this crime.
I think that's gonna. I think they're gonna. I hope we're building towards like a walloping street level threat. With the, I mean, and like not street level, you know, like, but not alien. You know what I'm saying? Like with Kingpin and the Power Broker and Xialing. It's funny that like if you're not alien, you're street level at this point. But like, because I mean, the Ten Rings has infiltrated governments and toppled regimes and shit. So like, it's not technically street level, I don't think. But I really hope we're coming to some sort of culmination eventually down the line with all of them forming some sort of alliance. I think I thought Xialing and the Power Broker were a shoo-in from the get-go. As soon as they showed her taking up the mantle, I was like, there is one person she will work really, really well with all these resources. And I think Sharon Carter has a vision for the world and what she wants to do. And it's not similar to Xialing, but I think she has similar motives. Like, it's like they were both kind of held back, betrayed, and now they're looking to exude their power.
In Falcon and Winter Soldier, what was the city they went to that was like super
Madripoor.
crime? Like Madripoor, that's right. Like the compound, like for some reason, gave me like the same vibes for some reason, or like, or her just like her underground crime ring and everything. Like it just felt in the same vein, you know. Like,
I could see that for sure. That like especially the fight rings, like that felt like something straight that would have been in that city. And I hope we're coming back to Madripoor at some point. I love that.
That was such a cool place.
And if you read the comics and you know like its connection to Wolverine and stuff, like it'd be really cool if that's like our introduction to Wolverine. It's like a safe haven for him over the years where he can kind of retreat, and he has like a whole alter ego that he puts on while he's there and is like a high roller and stuff. It's really fucking cool. But
that's sick.
Yeah, I hope Madripoor sees a return, and I think Xialing would be a good Xialing and the Ten Rings would be a good way to get that back around here. But yeah, Xialing at my 73.
My 73, continuing the Eternals train, is Kingo. That's where I have him. And I don't know, he's just kind of hilarious. He's the funny one to me of everyone.
Oh yeah.
Like the movies, you know, like the fact that he's just a multi-generational actor, you know,
legend, Hollywood legend.
Like every time that I, you know, think of his storyline or hear that, I always think like, okay, if I was an Eternal, you know, if I lived forever or whatever, like what would I do on Earth just to fill my time? And like, probably would be famous at some point, you know, or would try to be.
You have all the means to achieve that, you know, like if you have all the time in the world, you're bound to get famous.
And I don't know, it's just his story's super funny. He had Star Wars playing in the jet, so he's a man of culture.
Absolutely.
And his like power set is just super cool. It's just like energy, like I don't know, like what would you? Yeah, just super sick. But I don't know. He's just a little bit above Gilgamesh and Athena for me. I think there's just a little more to his story. Him in the Icarus moment, you know, or you know, with
follow
all
you
of
till
them,
the end of the line, or.
But he's like, I'm not going to hurt any of you over this. Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to hurt any of you over this. You know, like you guys. Obviously, there's a conflict here, but I'm not going to be a part of it.
Yeah, like
I can't fight you guys.
This is not. I love you guys. I won't.
Yeah,
I won't fight and try to kill you over this. I think that's that was important to me that they like Kingo was like, yo, Icarus is out of pocket for that.
Kind of a moment you haven't seen in Marvel of like someone just completely stepping out and being like, no, because you just expect like, oh, this is a comic book movie, superhero movie. Everyone's going to be in the fight and, you know, everyone has to have their moment or whatever. But like his moment was just deciding not to fight. And I don't know, I thought really powerful moment. And, you know, he hears, I forget what the line is, but the line
that makes him remember.
Icarus hears. Yeah. And like, which is just super cool. Like they're at that whole moment and everything unraveling.
It was like, I think it was like, I'd follow you to the end as I always have or something like that. Cause he said the same thing to Ajax, but,
oh man. But yeah, that's my 73 Kingo.
All right, cool. And my 72, heading to the Guardians of the Galaxy films. This is where I've got Yondu Odanta. I fucks with Yondu, you know, he's Mary Poppins, y'all. And his death and his funeral are among the most emotionally resonant scenes in the entire MCU. And you know, credit to Chris Pratt a little bit here. There's his. I'm not like a huge Chris Pratt guy. I think he's all right. Like he does a good enough job, you know.
He's just kind of the average man.
That's the thing is that like he's not acting to me. He's just being Chris Pratt pretty much any time. And anytime he's serious, it's like I don't know, man. But he does a really good job when Yondu gives him the jetpack and the breathing mechanism, and he's like, no, and he's like trying to like rip it off. Like that shit that tears me apart every time, you know, like that's a real fucking tough one. And whenever the Ravager funeral shows up and they've got all the colors flying for him, man, there are a few scenes in the MCU that make me cry every single time, and that is a guaranteed cry if I make it to the end of that movie.
Just what a amazing character design too. Like
fantastic.
For one he's blue, you know, which is just sick.
Mm-hmm. The
And
red
just his
fin.
weapon, the I don't know if whistles pick up on here, but like the fact that like, does he have to? Is the whistle the thing that's actually controlling it, or is it in his mind? Does he just whistle because it makes it more badass, or like is it
I
truly
think
the
you do
sound?
need to whistle because he passes the arrow on to Kraglin at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and you see him training. He goes,
Mm.
it's all shaky and stuff, and then he accidentally sends it flying at Drax.
Mm.
But yeah, that scene in Guardians in 2, whenever him and Rocket are breaking out of the prison with Groot, or not prison, but breaking out of the Ravager ship with Groot. Or not, yeah, with Baby Groot. And they're just, it's literally raining men. Like when they're walking out as his arrows just flying through the entire complex. Like, holy shit, what a badass scene. I absolutely loved Yondu. And Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is really where he hits his stride. He's kind of an asshole in Guardians 1, and he's not as big a character in 1 as he is 2, but 2, he's fucking awesome. And I love him in What If, and What If T'Challa was Star-Lord. I think that was a really strong Yondu appearance. Like when you say you might be the heart of the ship, but I'm still its captain. Like, okay, spit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have Yondu in this episode, but he's pretty like higher up.
Cool.
Pretty big gap for this episode. He's up near the end of this episode for me, but
cool.
But yeah, what a guy Yondu is.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
That voice is so in everything he's in.
Might have been your father's son, but he ain't your daddy.
But I'll get to Yondu eventually. But continuing the Eternals train, we got Sprite. This is where I have Sprite here, and reason she's above Kingo, Gilgamesh, Thena. Her just conflict with being young is just, that's already just like a cool arc for her. But the fact that she like just through history like showed people visions and like could just told stories and stuff like that, and like basically has the reality stone built into her, is super cool. And her resolution is like, that moment is insane, of her like becoming basically human, and living a normal life eventually. We don't get to see it, but we just know, or whatever. And I always think of like what the future of the Eternals is, if it's going to be like a show, or if they're like how they're going to revisit them or whatever.
Of the mind, the Eternals are too big to maintain. Like, I think we get separate spin-offs featuring separate Eternals. Like,
that's what I would hope. Like, because
it's too big to keep them all in the same story still. Like, I need to get expansions on singular characters, Yeah,
because even if you just take from where they ended and you continue the story, it's already so much. But they have all that time on Earth before. We only got to see like little glimpses into their pasts. Like the most important parts, most likely, that we got to see. But there's still so much that they could. There's so much content there if they want it. And like, for example, like Kingo could just have like, they could just like make his like a Bollywood show that's just like his reign through Bollywood. Just even that. Or they could do like the Babylonian Empire. Like they could just pick a time in history and just like focus on that, which would be like super cool. Maybe it's like each episode focuses on a different time, or something like that. Like
the concept that I've had for the Eternals in the past is take each character, like make it like, I think it's 9 Eternals, make it 9 episodes. It's each character after they've separated. Each episode is centered around one character after they've separated. And what was that during the where
Emergence?
were they? No, where were they? The were they like when Druig runs off with the. It's
I think it's somewhere
in the Amazon.
Yeah, somewhere down in the Amazon.
All right, I can't remember exactly where it was, but
but they had guns and stuff, so it wasn't like Aztec,
No,
like
no, no, no,
that.
no,
I'm
no, no, no,
thinking
no.
like
Yeah,
old, but it could be that area.
yeah,
Though, like I think it might have been like an Aztec temple that they were in.
yeah. I'm thinking
So,
of the temple, and I'm like, I can't comfortably place which era it would have been from, but yeah, after they've separated there, like covering each specific Eternal in a specific time period, like a formative time period on who they are when we see them again in Eternals, you know? Like I think it'd be cool to have Kingo somewhere in like the early 1900s, mid 1900s India doing shit. Like I think that's like interesting stuff like that. Like it could be really cool, and I don't know. I just think there's a lot there.
and think of well, I guess we'll get to them. I don't want to spoil anything or talk too much, but yeah, Sprite at my 72.
All right. My 71. Heading to DC for the first time this episode. This is where I got Peacemaker. I as much as the show elevated Peacemaker's character, it still wasn't nearly enough for me to go, yeah, I like Peacemaker. You know, like I think he's a much better character than he was before, and I really, really enjoyed the show and stuff, but he's by no means one of my favorite comic book characters even after that. I think he's been developed in a really fascinating way, and who knows, with further expansion, maybe he climbs this list. I think he's only subject to go up at this point. But he's a really interesting one. His backstory is tragic. It's funny. Last night I actually from the hours of like midnight to 2 a.m. I turned on the Suicide Squad and listened back to our live commentary of it as I watched along. And I just wanted to see, because it's the first time I was watching the movie since Peacemaker came out. And it's funny the way that they purposefully made it so that Peacemaker was like the only character without an emotional backstory during the movie. He was just he was the only one that they didn't give the backstory for. And
That's
it's because
true. Yeah,
because he does the betrayal at the end of the movie. You had to be okay with it. You couldn't feel bad for the guy.
That's true. If we knew what we knew now, like I don't know, I guess we would still kind of hate him for what he did. Still, you know, like a little,
oh yeah,
like, but it'd be a little more like, damn, this dude's just been through it.
Oh, it's just so much better to have framed it the way they have. Like to have framed his wanting to be better up against him having killed Rick Flag, and that's what motivates him, and then that's probably what triggers even more thinking about what happened with his brother and stuff, and all of it's coming up. But yeah, we're talking in the movie about how much we like fucking hated Peacemaker, and like he's the only one without a tragic backstory during it, and then we get the fucking show where it's like, oh, he's amongst the most tragic of backstories. That was a rough one, but yeah, Peacemaker. I love him being portrayed by John Cena, and I got him at my 71.
Oh yeah, my 71. This is where Icarus is for me. And I mean, he's surprised. I don't know if you thought he would be higher up on my Eternals list or something, but I don't know. He's like a huge part of the movie, you know, like a very central role in it. But I don't know, like he I don't like him as much as the characters that come up above him. But I felt like he had to be. He couldn't really be at the bottom just because he was the antagonist. You know, he made the betrayal, whatever. I still really enjoyed his character.
Gotcha.
And just seeing Rob Stark in the MCU,
Rob Stark
was just
and Jon
amazing.
Snow interacting. Give me that. When they introduce themselves to each other, hi, I'm Dane, and they're first time they're coming face to face since like the second episode of Game of Thrones, which is fucking insane. They were only together for 2 episodes.
Oh, that's right. That's crazy. They don't even have that much interaction, I guess.
Show is so fucking big that it's like the whole Stark family doesn't appear on screen together after the first episode. That is it.
Holy crap.
And Daenerys and Jon don't meet till season 7. Like, it's
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big show, but nevertheless, yes, Icarus and
His flying.
ooh,
They
immaculate.
nailed the zero, like the effortlessness of his flying.
Hmm.
Like, every time Superman takes off and he wants to take off at like 700 miles an hour, it makes sense that he charges up and jumps up, or whatever, and leaves a crater. But like, it makes way more sense, if you can fly and you don't care about gravity at all, it doesn't affect you, just to like
Float.
literally levitate and just go like in the direction you want to go. And like, it's the scene that I think of every time is when they're in the woods, fighting, and I think Gilgamesh just died, I think, and Thena's like, you have to go, save everyone else, like, go, like, I'll be fine. And then he just slowly like goes back,
And
turns
then
around, and then like shoots off. And
yeah, that's the one I think of too. That's definitely God. He was a really cool character in terms of power set and on screen portrayal. Rewatching that movie, knowing what has happened, because you start that movie with Icarus and he's already killed Ajax, and he's like, he tells Cersei like, "I came back because of the earthquake. The deviants are news to me." It's like, no, they're not. You fucking liar. Ultimately, that's I had him a little bit lower than the rest of my list. I don't know if you remember, but Icarus came in at 95, and my next Eternal wasn't until 82. So I definitely held him to a lower standard, and it's not because of any true animosity or anything, but he betrayed the squad. I fuck with a loyal friend, and if you're a disloyal friend, I'm a put you down the list a little bit. That's how it happens.
I mean, he did get the shit beat out of him enough to be like, you know what? All right, I'm gonna fly into the sun now.
He was like, "Fuck, I was so wrong."
Yeah. Which, it's interesting to talk about like an Eternal dying, because they really never can die if all their memories are saved and everything. Like, it's an interesting, like, another philosophical question that Marvel's getting into is like, does death ever exist if your consciousness is stored, and like, your body's no longer there, whatever you were living in, but you're like, everything that made you is still there. And like, it's going to be super interesting. I think like, I don't know if Doctor Strange will go into the World Forge or like whatever. It's just in the trailer, like some of it looked similar, or like, I guess it's the multiverse, it's infinite, like fractal stuff, and it's all going to look the same. But I would just like more explanation on that side of things, and see if they. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to use it to bring the Eternals back that died, but to see if it can be used in any other sense, or like if everyone's consciousness is stored and it's not just the Eternals or something like that. Like if every being's consciousness is stored somewhere, or something like that. And Icarus, middle of the road Eternal for me.
And it's interesting thinking about that. Like, I think Ajax and Gilgamesh could be brought back pretty simply and with the same personality they contained on Earth. Icarus, however, I think him flying into the sun eliminates access to his memories of his time on Earth.
Okay, so their bodies have to be taken back to the World Forge for their memories to be like uploaded, you think?
I mean, that's what's complicated.
I was just kind of thinking that it was just kind of like the cloud. Like it's just their minds are always like, I don't know. Like it's just,
and like it wasn't physical. Like you couldn't, like, you weren't looking at a brain. You were looking at like neural function inside a little fucking box. So maybe it is just like the cloud. I don't know. I always took it as like the fucking. I imagine like Erishim just like picking them up and like plugging them in and like clicking a button, and like it's got like a little fucking loading bar.
Yeah, we just need more explanation on
the Wi-Fi is too slow.
But I don't know. I just can't wait for any more explanation on anything Eternal. So
it's gonna be immaculate. But yeah, so 71 was Icarus for you.
Yes.
All right. On to 70, I'm back to the Guardians of the Galaxy crew here, and my the one I have here is Groot. I love Groot. You know, I do love Groot, and he's got the sacrifice play, and he's a cute motherfucker. And an emotionally resonant story.
How much can you really love him?
Yeah, you know, he's got an emotionally resonant story for what he is, you know, for being able to say, I am Groot, sacrificing yourself for the team. Hey, we are Groot. You switch it up enough and I'm there. I'm tearing up and like I realize I'm a simpleton.
Hey, I mean, when Groot blipped and you just see Rocket, like, no. Like,
no.
Oh my God.
Groot.
Oh,
no.
What a insane thing that we can even be attached to a character that says the same line over and over and is a tree.
It's pretty impeccable. and you know, like it's the same thing with Chewbacca. Like with these types of characters where it's like it's not the character themselves, it's the dynamic that they bring to the team they're on. Like knowing they love the people around them and the people around them love them. Like Han Solo loves Chewbacca, like Rocket loves Groot. Like that's what creates the emotional resonance. It's not exactly just Chewbacca going, Roar. It's the fact that he's roaring when Han Solo's about to get frozen. You know, like that's the shit that hits. And Groot, you know, saving the team by encapsulating them in his body and then being brought back. And I am Groot.
Whoa, language! Yeah. They're all just so instant. Like they understand his language. Like it's just nothing to it. Like I don't know.
And the fact that Thor says they taught Groot on Asgard, like you could take
it as an elective or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, Groot will come up for me a little. Not in this episode, actually.
Understandable. That was my thing. I was having a conflict. It was like I do love Groot. Frankly, I feel like I could plug him in anywhere on this list and I'd feel okay about it. You know what I'm saying? Like
now that I'm looking at the characters that are below him, I'm like, no way I actually like Groot more than them, you know?
It's just there's something like with those characters, like I could truly put Chewbacca anywhere on a top 50 Star Wars character list and I'd feel okay about it, you know, like.
But yeah, look, I got a little Groot,
you got a little Groot
figurine on my desk. He's always here. He's just, you know, having a grand old time.
I got a Groot poster on my wall, you know, like I fucks with Groot.
Yeah, he's but I guess he's a little high for truly where he belongs, but whenever I'm making these lists and stuff, I like to think of like pairs that work well together.
Right. And
his pair just fell there. So it was kind of like it's just where Groot fell.
I see.
But yeah. Interesting. Continuing my Eternals, you know, pairs again, Cersei.
Naturally.
This is where Cersei falls. And the reason she's above Icarus is, I don't know, she's just a better character, and we're on her side, and she's prime Eternal now, which is sick. And
Queen Bee.
The whole realization that maybe she could turn living things into whatever she wanted beforehand. It's just that she didn't try to turn it into another living thing. I don't know why I never thought about that. Like she turned the deviant into a tree, which is living. So like still the same thing. I don't know. Maybe she did unlock something, you know, truly, or but I don't know. It'd be super interesting to see more a deep dive into her character, and we're definitely going to now that she's the prime Eternal.
She seems to be the main character amongst what they're doing in that side of the universe, and how she'll tie back to Dane Whitman, and how she'll tie to Sprite. Like I'm assuming Cersei and Dane. I mean, like who knows with Arishem picking her up at the end of the fucking movie? Like what the fuck's gonna happen there? But when stuff returns to normalcy eventually, I hope to see Cersei and Dane kind of looking after Sprite still. Like, I think that would be awesome. But, you know, with Dane about to go in his whole fucking corner of the universe, too, the fuck knows when he'll free up. I mean, that's the thing with the Marvel Universe is any new characters, they're not going to be happy and chilling for a while. You know? They've got some shit ahead of them.
Who's with Cersei? Who did Hiroshima take with?
Kingo and Fastos.
Yeah, it was just 3.
Mhm.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, because Ajax dead, Gilgamesh dead,
Athena dead.
Athena not dead. Athena up on the Domo with Druig and Makari.
Oh,
because Harry Styles pulls up and is like, "Hey, I know where your friend's at. Let's go get him."
Okay, true. Yeah. Oh man, I just can't wait for the future of Eternals. Like they can go anywhere.
Oh, it's gonna be so fucking good.
Anywhere.
Like I just want I think where we're at now, it's like it's already fruitful for spin-off material. Like if you just like went ahead and went, Athena, Makari, Druig, and Star Fox go and do shit here for a little bit. Unfortunately, you'll have to address Cersei, Kingo, and like that's the thing is they put themselves in a corner with that. They can't do anything with those characters after Eternals until they address that. What Arashim decides. So it's like,
ooh,
like I think the only time that I think the next time we see Eternals is an Eternal sequel.
Oh, and that movie's gonna be. I don't know. I feel like the second Eternals movie can be so much better because they don't have to establish everything and they can just go
all gas, all gas.
But Cersei, getting back to her, like on the plane, being like, I can turn a stone into air, I can turn a stone into sand, and or like just kept
think
going
on it for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get back to you or whatever. But I don't know, the potential for her character now being the Prime Eternal and everything is super cool. Her realizing the truth, being told from Hiroshima, and then her like just being kind of like like can you imagine living your whole life and then being told the actual truth?
It is almost time.
What the fuck do you mean by that?
And wasn't Gilgamesh the one who like got her connected to Arashim? Where he was like, sometimes you don't.
Maybe you're trying too hard.
Yeah, just let it happen.
Maybe you don't have to. Maybe you don't have to speak. Sometimes you just have to listen. And you just like. She like immediately gets it after his advice.
And then in the theater, fucking... just oh my god.
Cersei.
But super cool power couple. Hopefully we get more Dane and Cersei because Icarus and her seem that's over. That's over with.
That seems done.
A good book in there on their relationship. So don't think there's.
I just love to think about what could have been with the Eternals. Like the MCU is now at a point where, like, Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. Like that's not exactly the most cohesive story, like one after the next or anything. But I feel like Eternals was an opportunity to, like, I can't imagine what this movie would have been like if it was split into separate movies. Like, growing to appreciate Icarus as like a hero for like a couple movies, and then him being like, actually, I've been fucking you over the whole time. Like, that would have been a fucking crazy twist. And I feel like we're at a point in the MCU where we're not really going to get slow burns like that ever again. It's going to kind of be as soon, like, we're going to get there pretty quick with what we need to happen.
That comes back to like the standard that we have set for Marvel now. Like we're, after No Way Home, people are expecting, and with, Multiverse of Madness, the whole cast list there, like everyone's like expecting huge drops and huge people in every movie, and what's the word? Cameos, from insane people. Like everyone's expecting all of these crazy things to happen now. And we constantly need something, to keep the Marvel itch. You can't have a Thanos burn, like that long of a burn. They could do that with, a super big bad still, I think. Yeah. And there definitely still will be some slow burns, but it seems that like they have to appease us all the time now. And
it's why I'm looking so forward to Moon Knight, because as of right now, it's appearing as though that, like the producer said, it has no connection to the prior MCU right now. Like, in terms of storytelling, like, it is in the MCU. People are running with that quote and going, what the fuck does he mean by it? And it's like, no, shut the fuck up. It's just that there's not going to be some random fucking cameo character that pops up in Moon Knight. It's, and it seems like we're going to have a villain in that show that we get the whole side of the story from. We're not going to have a surprise villain in the last 2 fucking episodes where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, this is the person who was the problem the whole time. We'll know from the get-go. We'll get their side of the story with Ethan Hawke's character. Like, I think that's going to be really, really well executed in a way that, like, we just haven't really gotten in a Marvel show yet. Like, it's been decent so far, you know, obviously. It's been wildly entertaining. But I feel like Moon Knight's about to hit a different level in terms of critical appeal.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. And whenever we start covering, that's going to be so much fun, and
so
just
soon
like
too.
And having Oscar Isaac, like I can't wait to see, like, because this is like a crazy performance that he like has to like take on here, like multiple personalities and like mental health, like that's an insane role to play, and like it being in Marvel is insane. You know that they're going this dark and being this real. With it. And I can't wait to see how Oscar Isaac takes it and runs with it. I think he's going to kill it.
And we will be talking Moon Knight later on in this list for me.
Yeah, he's not on my list at all yet. I was thinking about it, and like he's badass enough in just the trailers and everything that we've gotten for him that I can pretty comfortably put him on here. But every time that I'm like, I haven't seen actually what they become, I couldn't comfortably be like, yeah, I love them more than this character that I have years of experience with.
No, yeah. I the only reason Moon Knight climbed my list so high is because pretty early on in my comic book reading, Moon Knight was one of the characters I latched onto. And I remember I played like Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Switch, and Moon Knight was one of the characters. And I was like, oh, this guy's fucking badass. I'm going to go read the comic books. And like, that was kind of how I got on Moon Knight, and I read a bunch of Moon Knight. So I'm pretty familiar with the character, and I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, he'll be popping up not this week.
Okay.
Yeah, so
interesting. Well, moving on to good old 69. This is where I have Makari. And so there's only 3 Eternals left. She's in my top 3 of Eternals, and I don't know, just having sign language in the MCU is cool. And like you saying like it's that you wanted to learn it, like it's a thing that you wanted to learn. Like I've recently started to look into it, and like it's just like a cool thing that I think anyone should try to learn.
I don't get how it's not
taught in school.
I feel like that should be required.
Like to communicate with someone who can't speak or can't hear, you know, like that should.
A lot of people who can't hear use sign language. Like,
yeah,
we're just making it completely inaccessible. Like, not completely inaccessible, but like more difficult than it needs to be. Like that should be a class we get taught in elementary school. You know, like
you should be able to, and you know, it's a universal language, which is like super. There's not many like universal-ish languages. Like math, that's universal. Like math is the same pretty much everywhere, and like there's different sign languages there and like stuff like that.
Yeah, but, you know, like we do have American Sign Language, and
you know immediately that someone is speaking in sign language. Like just like you could see from like 100 feet away. You know, like is the thing. You can't tell if someone's speaking German or Italian from 100 feet away. Like I don't know. It's just such a cool concept of a language that it's like, I don't know. I think it's amazing, and having that representation in Marvel is super cool to see.
She was topping my list of the Eternals. She was my favorite.
And as a speedster, like the way they filmed and like didn't use slow motion with her, like rarely ever. It was in fast motion and like didn't need slow motion. Like it made sense to not really see her, you know, and just see how fast everything's happening around her or whatever, and not just seeing, you know, the super flash run or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like the scene I think specifically too is whenever she's going in on Icarus and he's up against
all sides,
up against the, you know, like a rock or a cliff, and she's just coming in at every angle, punching him deeper and deeper into there. And it's like there was no slow motion. It was all super like in real time, and it's like it gave you the real sense of speed. And whenever she's like, find the point of the emergence, and she's just running across the earth, and like just making it across the ocean within, a couple seconds or whatever, and like across islands and continents or whatever. Like it was just super cool.
The giant leaps she would take where that's the only time she kind of slows down and you can see her is because she's not running. She's in the air. Like I just thought that shit was really fucking cool. And now we've done all this talking. I'm going to have to watch fucking Eternals again today.
Mm-hmm. And the spinoff that they could have with her, she's been collecting all of these super cool artifacts through history.
She's got one of the greatest museums in the history of human history.
Oh my God. So her arc is super cool, and her potential is insane. And doesn't she confirm to have her own spinoff or something? Like, wasn't there confirmed her and Druig or something like that had their own thing coming?
There's the writers of the of the movie were like, that's a top tier spinoff they would like to.
Okay.
But it's not one that has been technically affirmed yet. That's a good one.
She makes my top 3 for sure.
I love that. Yeah, she was my top 1. It had to be so. But with that, on to my 69. And this is where I have Eddie Brock Venom. It might be a little low. I don't know. There's just something. Everything I like about Venom is from an aesthetic point of view. Like looking at him, the comic book visuals, like seeing him drawn on the page, seeing him in full visual effects in movies and stuff. Like it's not so much the story of Eddie Brock Venom that has resonated with me to this point. This is purely a pick of, that character design was badass enough to elevate him to top 70 pretty much.
I take that exact line of logic and push it to like way more of an extreme.
Right.
It is kind of how I treated it. And Spidey villains for me are just like any Spidey villain's going to be pretty high up and making it super high. And he's not in this episode for me. He'll come a little later, but it's your logic pretty much is the same here with me. So interesting. Yeah. Pretty sizable gap there, but yeah, same logic though, which is interesting.
Yeah, and I basically was just like, if I'm not fucking with this, the story is the thing that I'm really, really looking for here when I'm ranking it. The stories I have read and encountered before, the ones that have resonated with me on a deeper level. And he just hasn't had one like that for me yet. Perhaps I need to read more Venom books or something. And I think there's so much fruit there that could be bared. Like it could be a really, really interesting, and I like what they've done with the movies with Tom Hardy. Like that, those are really, really funny movies. Like I enjoy them thoroughly, but there's not a real emotional resonance I'm getting out of these movies. And
the No Way Home post credit scene.
Oh yes, that's crucial. That's crucial. Leaving behind in the
how that why that little spot just didn't go back with him. I don't care about the technicalities. I just think it's cool that there's like a split Venom now, and it's like is it like, are they still connected? I
think the writer of No Way Home confirmed it's a multiversal hive mind.
So like Venom already exists.
I think it's kind of like Venom's a universal constant. He's a his symbiotic mind is so powerful that if you are Venom and you are transported to another multiverse, you are therein the same as the other Venom. Like you are one and the same at that point.
Maybe there's some I don't know. I'm going too crazy. I was like trying to connect the World Forge and his consciousness thoughts and like maybe there's some connection there.
The symbiotes are just
that's just a separate thing.
They've got a whole planet out there.
Yeah, that's it's their own thing. But they could retcon. Who knows how they're gonna?
Yeah, they retcon the shit out of stuff. We can see.
But no, that's way too.
That's a little out there.
Too far. But
Erishim created Venom.
yeah, no. Interesting. Yeah, Venom will come not this episode, but next for me.
Cool.
So, and pretty high up in the next episode actually. So, yeah. My top two Eternal is Druig. Felt right to only put them together, Druig and Makari.
Naturally, yes.
And super, whenever they revealed that they were together, and they were like, "Oh, is this like a thing? Oh, I don't know if I like
Did
this."
you miss
or
me, my
whatever.
beautiful Makari?
And but the
Oh
reason,
no, oh no, what is this? I hate it.
the reason Druig's so high up on my list is the concept of his character and the philosophical and ethical questions he arises. And he's like, the moment that they have in that temple, I think Druig's the biggest moment out of any of them. In that moment where I mean, he's like, I can stop all of this right now. Like, this doesn't have to happen. This is like, it really, I think him leaving and making that big of a stance, like, really shook up like the whole group. Like, I don't think if he does that, like, I don't think everything happens the same way. Or I think like people, like some of the characters wouldn't have like thought that deep into it and maybe would have just still followed everything and stuff like that. But him going off into the Amazon, just having his own community was just sick. And I don't know, I don't know. I loved his portrayal. And just him being the Joker, like, now is just insane. That we have these crossovers from universes, and we don't have not much of the Joker from him, but
scraps.
Man, what we've seen seems great.
There are worse things to be.
But
I think
Druig,
we'll catch that again tomorrow. I think.
I'm itching to see it again. So I might have.
I'll hit you up after this. We'll figure something out.
But yeah, Druig, my top two, my second Eternal.
I fuck with it. Yeah, and he's definitely a strong Eternal. He does have one of the more powerful moments in the movie with him storming off there. And I love his relationship to Makari. Like, that's definitely definitely a highlight in that movie for me.
Oh yeah, that only leaves one more Eternal left for me.
Bet. But with that, on to my 68. This is where I have what I believe to be my first Batman villain. If I'm not mistaken. Yes. Scarecrow barely missed the cut in my top 100. Didn't quite make it, but this is where I have Mr. Freeze. I fucks with Mr. Freeze. I've been a big Batman fan all my life. So I loved the Batman animated series when I was growing up. And I think it's episode 4 of that show is about Mr. Freeze as the antagonist. And I remember it being one that I rewatched all the time when I was a youngin', and I watched Batman and Robin, the 1997 flick with Arnold Schwarzenegger, all the time, being I just absolutely loved that. And he's just a really interesting concept for a villain, just because he's kind of tragic, and I don't think he
Nora. All for Nora, it's all backstory is super sad.
Oh yeah, he's kind of a devastating character.
It's amazing how close we have these. It's only a 3 gap. There's only 3 people in between our Mr. Freezes, so that's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, I've liked this character for a really long time. I love the this man will just fucking freeze you. There's another animated movie that I watched all the time. Yes, Batman and Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero. I had it on DVD when I was younger, and I absolutely fucking loved it.
After the Batman big movie, Robert Pattinson's Batman movie came out, and I started to go on HBO Max and look at just some other Batman stuff to watch that wasn't Christian Bale's trilogy. I realized how much of Batman that I watched and didn't really realize how much Batman I watched.
Oh,
Whenever I was looking through all the
watched
titles,
a lot.
yeah, and I was like, oh my god, like I didn't like realize how much Mark Hamill's Joker has been in my life, like
Oh, yeah.
and how I just like kind of forgot about him a little bit for some reason, like after Heath Ledger was Joker, and like
yeah, I'd say Mark Hamill's my two. Like,
yeah,
in terms of Joker portrayals, like it's Heath Ledger and then it's Mark Hamill. Like
yeah.
that's
But after going through all those all the Batman that I have seen and stuff, it makes me feel more comfortable that like these villains and Batman people like are making these lists or making this list, because
I think like here I'm gonna count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I have 11 more Batman-centric characters, and I think I have less than 20 DC characters remaining. So, like it's the Batman side of the universe is far and away my favorite side of the universe, and like that might even be. I think I have 16 DC characters left, and 11 of them are Batman related.
3, 4, 5, 6. I just have 6 more Batman. 6 more left, but of my DC chunk, it is mostly Batman. Villains or other characters. So I'm right there with you. But I'll get to Mr. Freeze shortly. Here. So, but
67 then.
67. My top Eternal is Fastos. A Brainiac character, literally like the engineer of the group. Just the concept of him, how he like introduces little bits of technology at a time, is super cool, and the whole Hiroshima side of the storyline, where he feels responsible for this, and everything, and really not realizing why that scene was in there, but then after the Hiroshima moment, or takes him away, he's like probably going to look back on it and be like, yeah, these humans don't deserve it, or whatever.
Yeah,
like
he
that's
literally says these people, they're not worth saving.
Yeah. So like having that, not like, and seeing that that's probably where they're going to go with it. And and a lot of people like are still kind of confused, or maybe it is up in the air of like when he really stopped introducing technology to people. But like it seems that it was long before.
That's my thing. I don't understand how you can watch it and go, oh yeah, he was actively doing stuff into the 1900s during war. Like, no, he advanced them to a point and he was the clockwinder. He spun it back and let them go in terms of technological advancement. He got them to a certain point, and they went and did all the terrible, terrible shit that went and came of it later on. Now, and I feels like a lack of media literacy to go, him saying he feels responsible is not the same as blaming him for it. Like, yeah. It's really not. Like, it's not Marvel saying, they're saying it's Fastos' fault. No. Fastos is a person with feelings. And when you do something that sets someone on a path that ends in millions of deaths, hey, you didn't create the thing, but man, you're going to feel bad that the path was started. Like it's not like it's not a blame thing. It's just a person. It's a personal level of like, I don't know. It just feels wrong to perceive it as them blaming him for it.
Oh yeah. But I don't know, his like whenever he's up in the ship and like just making like tinkering, like the little hand motions that he makes are just super cool, and like all that technology and stuff, and how he's just a tinkerer, like that's what he does. He stays on, he doesn't really go out much. And his like Earth storyline, like when he's just settling down with his family, and like that whole storyline is amazing. He's like, I got a family now, I got something that matters to me, like I found something that truly matters. These humans, like they're worth it, was super cool to see. And that representation there in Marvel, like another thing that Eternals just did really well on. was representation. And Fastos, like, being the Brainiac and being, I don't know, like, he just fits, like, he run, like, right in my alley for a comic book character. And he's just one that I latched on to during, like, from first watch. I knew, like, this is my dude. The moment with Icarus when he just whips him down, like,
I've been waiting a long time to clip your wing.
I don't know. I love Fastos, and every moment that he's in the movie, I enjoy. Yeah. So
he's a strong character, and Brian Tyree Henry is a fucking fantastic actor. So it's a good choice. Good choice.
There's finishes out my Eternals.
Hell yeah. With that, on to my 27, where I'll stick with you in the Marvel realm. This is where I have Carly Morgenthau, the Flag Smasher. I loved Aaron Kellyman in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I thought that was a really good example of a nuanced character who, was obviously extremist in her methods. And I thought their treatment of, revolutionaries in that series was rough. But she was definitely a strong character. And I could not stand that they killed her off. That's like my one gripe with the entire show. I've talked about it many, many times. And mostly just because I can't fathom having your hands on a talent like Aaron Kellyman and killing her off. Like, beyond just a character storytelling perspective of, like, killing a revolutionary who's trying to unite the world.
And the fact that she's, like, a villain or antagonist, at the beginning, but then, like,
Bucky and John Walker team up at the end of the movie to try and fight. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just a weird tone to take towards the end of the series, and I was like, all right. I thought they kind of save it with Anthony Mackie's speech being like, she did all this, and y'all, like, and ultimately, she was sadly a sacrificial lamb, like, that Isaiah Bradley, I think, and Sam Wilson afterwards talk about, like, how, well, it looks like your speech did something. They decided to stop their plans going forward, and like, like at least that came of it. But, like, man, I don't know. It was just a rough way to handle it, and I do appreciate Sam by the end getting it, like, getting her, and, like, and they are also kind of saved by the fact that it's Sharon who does it. It's not an agent of the state. It's someone trying to hide their identity. Okay. Yeah. I can get with that a little more. It's just, it just kind of sucks. I wish we still had Aaron Kellyman in the MCU.
She just, I don't know, that role. She fits that revolutionary role just well. Star Wars and Marvel.
Yeah, emphasis
is really cool. Yeah, her character was amazing, and it's just another way, like, another antagonist that you don't really see as an antagonist at all, and like you feel for them, and that's a lot of, I don't know. I like that. That's Marvel. Just, it seems to be going in that direction. Like, even like Thanos, like, at the most extreme level, he's definitely the villain, definitely the antagonist. That, but you can see where he's coming from, and it's this weird sense of, like, empathy for such a crazy villain who wants to kill so many people or whatever. But with this character, it's completely different. It's like, it's the antagonist, but you don't feel as if they're the antagonist after you learn, like, what she's truly doing and all the good she's doing and stuff like that. So I just I'm sad that she didn't make my list, but definitely one that should have. And I've on the bottom of my list, I've been keeping track of the ones that I missed, and she was one of them. But I'm glad you put her on here. I
had to.
Figured you would.
Loved that character. But yeah.
66 for me, going DC here. This is where I have Aquaman. And I think he might. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I have Mr. Freeze on here twice. I think I already said Mr. Freeze at 91. That's interesting. He's sorry, I'm all Aquaman. Get back on to Aquaman here. But every time I see, like, an actor or whatever as, like, a superhero, I always just think of, like, what else they've been. And like I see just Khal Drogo, like no matter what, like whenever I see Aquaman, and it's just like just this badass. He just immediately fills this. You look at him in real life, and you're like, yeah, that dude's probably a superhero or something. Like he just fits
he's got to have something else going on a level that I just can't achieve.
And I think the Aquaman movie is really underrated. I think it's really good, and not a lot of people. Yeah,
percent with you. I remember the first time I watched that movie, I was like, why the fuck have I not watched this movie? Like, I didn't watch it for like 2 or 3 years after it had been out. Like, I didn't watch it till it was on HBO Max, and it came out like 2 years before HBO Max existed. So like, I
think that's just the thing with Aquaman, just in general. He's always like the lamest of, he's seen as like the lamest guy, whatever.
I mean, and I also grew up on the Justice League animated series too, and he's not a part of that Justice League lineup, So like, I grew up on Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Martian Manhunter, Hawk Girl, like stuff like that. And Aquaman was barely around.
Because how much can he really,
we got to be around water.
Yeah. So it's kind of like just a very hard character to balance with everyone else. But I don't know, that movie and his portrayal was really good and super underrated. I think I'm gonna have to give that a rewatch because it's been a while since I have watched it. But I remember it being a movie that really surprised me, and maybe it is just because the standards for Aquaman are just kind of a little lower.
Well, the visual effects are incredible. It's a very visually stimulating movie, incredibly well acted with Jason Momoa and Yahya Abdul-Mateen across from him as Black Manta. I thought he was awesome. Yeah, it's a good one.
In universe to have fucked a fish.
Yes, of course.
And then, do you see in real life that he was asked, like on the red carpet, he was like, "So what species of fish was it?" And he just walked off. He's like, like he just immediately got it and walked off. And then he came back and he's like, "I can't believe you asked me that, man," or something like that. Like, which is just hilarious. That
is funny.
Part of his character now.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. No, but yeah, he'll be popping up later this episode for me, just a little bit up the road. But yeah, and it's Jason Momoa. It's Jason Momoa, man. Like, it's just like I love that guy. So I'm a rides for my man's Jason Momoa, stepfather to Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman. Fun fact. Married to her mom, Lisa Bonet.
Wow, yeah. What a connection there.
Yes, very, very interesting. They got a real interesting family dynamic over there going on. It's one of the more fascinating celebrity things to keep up with. Just because I'm always like, I can't believe this family exists. It's like Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet had a daughter, and it was Zoe Kravitz. Those are two of the most beautiful people I've ever seen in my life. They separated. Jason Momoa, another one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen in my life, married Lisa Bonet. Jason Momoa and Lenny Kravitz are like homies. Like, they're like really cool with each other. Like, damn. I don't know. It's like it's a real fascinating one. But yeah. I'll get more to Aquaman here in a little bit. But my 66, I'm gonna stick with you in the DC realm. This is where I've got Cyborg, and this is
wow, that's another one that's just really close.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, he's yeah. I was probably just on I was on a DC kick. Like, whenever I get start to mention DC characters, they kind of a lot fall in together.
I feel you.
Interesting, but sorry.
Yeah, no, I loved Cyborg and specifically Zack Snyder's Justice League. I thought he got the fucking shaft in the original Joss Whedon one, and Ray Fisher has frankly deserved better from Warner Brothers on the whole. After their treatment of him on throughout this whole fucking saga with him as Cyborg, such an incredible arc in Zack Snyder's Justice League, him being pretty much the pivot point for that story. I think Batman and Superman, Batman resurrecting Superman's one side of the story, but the other side is that Cyborg and Flash are going to save the day, not Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. I think that's just so fucking cool. I love the underdogs being the ones who get the win for the team, you know, and he was a really strong character, and I've liked him in Doom Patrol. I've liked him in the Teen Titans.
I was just
Teen
about to
Titans
say that
cartoons.
not a lot of people think about the Teen Titans portrayal, and like that was like
That's top tier.
I watched that show all the time, and like I loved those characters. And Cyborg and Beast Boy, like them two are homies. Like their relationship is awesome. But yeah, Cyborg. I guess I have him coming up here, so I guess I'll save a little bit. But just like his character design, like the new look for Cyborg is just, oh my god!
No, the way he looked in Zack Snyder's Justice League was crazy.
Yeah, and kind of sad to not see him pop up with all the other Justice League members and Peacemaker. Yeah. I was kind of expecting, I was kind of like that was my thought after I saw that. I was like, oh well, where was Cyborg? Like that was kind of
it's the whole fucking Warner Brothers has just treated Ray Fisher like shit.
Yeah.
They like refuse to admit that he's faced racism within the company, and they refuse to acknowledge it or apologize, and therefore they just completely separate themselves from him, which is just like, oh, that's pretty indicative of the entire fucking issue. But yeah, so that's where I got Cyborg here at 66. Very strong character, and I wish we could be seeing him more, but I don't know that we will anytime soon, which sucks.
Damn. Well, continuing on, my 65. This is where I have Hawkeye, and without the show, Hawkeye is not this high up. But he does have his fair share of moments outside of the show. But the show really elevated his character for me and brought him back to a place where I think we can sort of respect him and what he's done for Kate Bishop and passing the torch and everything there is just super cool. The show surprised me so much. I was going in thinking like this is just some supplementary Marvel content that I'm just going to watch because it's Marvel.
It was really strong though. Mm-hmm. It was really strong, and he fell down lower on my list. I think I had him in the 90s somewhere, but
he is one of the original Avengers. Like he's
it's insane that he's one of the original Avengers.
Sad.
I watched him in theaters when I was 12. I saw all this shit over the years, and it wasn't until Hawkeye that his character, like the series, elevated his character to be 90s in my top 100. And it's far and away the best Hawkeye content we've ever gotten, and it is the most emotionally resonant, and he's the most sympathetic in it for sure. They address everything you want them to address in that show.
Oh yeah,
which is crucial.
And I think hopefully he's just like gonna be the guy in the chair, for the new Avengers. Like I think he's gonna like stick around, but he's not gonna fight anymore.
He can't be doing the physical shit too much longer, man. His body's gonna fucking break.
Yeah, this Christmas, like he realized he's like, all right, what's actually important to me now is my family. Like
I got out. This fight ended. I don't need to go back in. Like I don't see why he would go back in.
Like I fought the biggest battle of all time on Earth. And my family was gone during that. They blipped. I didn't have them, but now I do. They're important to me. And like his wife, being a SHIELD agent too. And like that's how like they found each other. And just so badass to see. Like I wonder if they have like a room in the house, that's like just all their tech shit in there, that's like just like a beep beep beep, like a
safe room.
But I don't know. Can't wait to see what they do with him, and I'm actually excited to get more Hawkeye content, which I can't believe I'd be saying.
Whatever we can get with him in the future, I'm inviting now. There was a point where I was like, "Don't give me anything, Hawkeye," and now I'm like, you know what, I'll take it. Which is just saying something, but yeah, it's a good one. That's definitely a good one. On to my 65. I believe this will be my first. No, not my first X-Men member. I had a couple technically in the last one with Quicksilver and Cable, but this is where I have Nightcrawler.
Oh,
I like me some Nightcrawler. And it's more from comics and more from video games that I've really grown to love Nightcrawler. You know, I liked him in X2, and I liked him in the revamped versions with I think it was an Apocalypse that he was there, maybe ish. I think. But you know, he and Dark Phoenix, strong in Dark Phoenix too. He's just a really interesting, really cool power set. I love the BAMF in comic books. Whenever he puffs, it spells out BAMF, BAMF. It's one of my favorite little effects in all of comics.
Huh. Yeah, I have my X-Men.
BAMF.
They come up in this episode. So it's interesting that our like, I guess you have some X-Men, but I don't know if they're more densely packed here or like if they start here for you. But,
I've got a few coming up. Yeah, for sure.
Which is interesting. Yeah, not a big gap here either. With where my Nightcrawler is. So, and I don't even, I'm very new to the X-Men, and I already like him. I already like him more than the Eternals, even. So,
yeah, he's a badass. He's a super cool character.
Mm-hmm. But I'll save a little bit until I get to him. But moving on to my 64, it's where I have the Ancient One.
Ooh, nice. I do not have the Ancient One.
You sure? I have it bolded. I think because every time I bold one, it's you said it before I did. Maybe I just accidentally bolded the Ancient One then.
I have to guess that was an accidental bold.
Okay.
I don't think she appears on my list.
But every time I rewatch Doctor Strange, it just climbs higher and higher for me. And it's like the strongest solo movie outside of Black Panther, I think. I think it's the number 2 solo movie now for me. Maybe Shang-Chi is close to it. But I don't know. Doctor Strange, every time I rewatch it, it's just like, wow. Like, this story is so insane. The visuals are mind-boggling, that you're watching. And really, I don't know, took the MCU in a different lane and started to get people more comfortable with all these time concepts and crazy infinite whatever mirror dimension crazy things, and I don't know, I think Doctor Strange is just going to be a huge pivotal point in Marvel moving forward, like a pivotal character moving forward. Interested to see what happens with him in this upcoming movie, but seems that he's becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, so going to be important for quite a while, I'd assume.
In theory.
Yes. Well, yeah, I guess. Well, he has to. If that moment is true and she's like, you have to become the Sorcerer Supreme, that's an absolute fixed point in time. If that's like truly canon, then like, is that true for what we're watching? Like, or like, is that, I don't know, do we accept that as truth? Or like, I mean, she did.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
I mean, and the Ancient One wouldn't have. I don't know. The Ancient One wouldn't have died. In her last moments, she wouldn't have like spoken all the words if like to him if he wouldn't be the one becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, and like
right.
She would have known maybe that Wong was this temporary, Sorcerer Supreme, maybe, or maybe her death is like she really couldn't see past, and like she had no idea what would happen, how crazy everything would get. So maybe she couldn't have seen. So
shit, man, I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, the Ancient One's always been a really interesting character for me. I like Tilda Swinton a lot, so her in that role was awesome. Yeah, she's been really cool across a lot of Marvel content. She's just one that's never hit for me in a way that I'm like, yeah, it's one of my faves.
I think one of my favorite scenes with her is whenever Doctor Strange first gets led into the temple and he has like his first lesson with her. And yeah, she's like, you got to let go of everything you think you know. And just explaining everything, like, and the philosophies and everything they follow and everything like that. Like, it was just super cool to see. And like, just the master and the student, or like, that moment that they're having, like just the super cool interaction between them. And I don't know, every time that she's on screen, it's always interesting, and always an important moment. Always so wise, everything that comes out of her mouth is like poetry, and like just
you need to be listening. Yeah.
So yeah, my 64.
All right, my 64 is DC realm again. We're going to Lucius Fox.
Ooh,
I loved me some Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox in the Nolan trilogy, in the Dark Knight trilogy. That was so strong. And that's really the portrayal that elevates him to on this list. I read him in comics and stuff, and he's a cool character, but like Morgan Freeman embodying Lucius Fox as this ride or die for Bruce Wayne Batman. And that scene in the Dark Knight where he was like, "Oh, you didn't get the memo?" Finally claps back at that dude, takes control of the company. Or is that at the end of Batman Begins?
It might be, I think. I don't think it's in the Dark Knight, that moment.
Yeah, I think it's the Batman Begins.
I think it is, yeah, at the end. What? No, it is Batman Begins.
Yeah, it is, because he's dealing with all the Dark Knight stuff.
Yeah, because Bruce comes back to Wayne.
Yeah.
Bruce comes back to Wayne Industries, and that's like the very end when he's like, no, that's at the very end of Batman Begins.
Yeah, for sure.
But another you just hit another one that didn't make my list that should have, especially as Morgan Freeman, and in Gotham, the TV show, like Lucius in that one, like a young Lucius Fox. That's working he works for Gotham General, like the police academy, and he's like just their go-to science guy. And then
that's cool.
And then he slowly becomes like Bruce Wayne's like private smart guy, guy in the lab or whatever, like slowly over time, which is a super cool. But
does it come in black?
What's the whatever, I don't know, the guy that worked for Wayne Industries was trying to like be like, Bruce Wayne's Batman, it's all in the plans, what are you doing here?
So tell me, your plan was you found the man you think to be Batman, and your plan is to blackmail this person?
Yeah, the whole every line that he has before that, where he's like, a man that fights crime, and I'm, and like, or whatever, like, I don't know, he has like a little something before that's like super,
a little sprawl that like portrays, you are a fucking idiot for thinking you could get away with this, and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna go.
The line is, so let me get this straight. You think that your client, one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the world, is secretly a vigilante who spends his nights beating criminals to a pulp with his bare hands, and your plan is to blackmail this person. Good luck. Like, and it kind of like frames like how people wouldn't see Bruce Wayne as just obviously Batman. Like it frames it in a very real way, where he's like, he literally just spoke it to this person, and he was like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like no way Bruce Wayne could be Batman. Like, and even if he is, why am I trying to do anything to him?
Right.
So, but yeah, damn, I can't believe he didn't make my list, but I'm glad he's on yours.
Yeah, another member of the Bat family there in Lucius Fox, but yeah, had to get him in here. So that's my 64.
My 63, sticking DC here. This is where Selina Kyle, or Catwoman, lies for me, and I think this is where the duplicate Mr. Freeze was. By the way, and Catwoman and Selina Kyle wasn't on my list before, and I made this list before I saw Batman, and
you were like, "Hey, bet."
I was like, "Yeah, perfect." She should definitely make this list. Previously, for not even Zoe Kravitz's portrayal, like all the previous Catwoman in animated, and
Michelle Pfeiffer and Batman Returns and stuff. Yeah,
should definitely be on the list no matter what. But definitely. The new Batman movie took her up even higher, and hopefully we're getting a spinoff with her. I think it only makes sense, for they're saying that there's 2 possible spinoffs, and it just seems that it's going to be the Penguin and his like crime, just like the Tony Soprano, like the DC version of the Sopranos.
Hi, I'm Ozzy.
And just that's going to be so. I hope they do a Penguin spinoff, and then like her just driving off and leaving, going, like, don't you just want to, top off or like, we'll rob some hedge fund CEOs or whatever, and her driving off. It just feels like that's going to be the other spinoff.
Over in Bloodhaven.
So, I feel Selena Kyle, just such a cool character, and being the daughter of Falcone was super cool, and the moment where she's about to pull the trigger, and then like Batman's like, no, like you've suffered enough. This is only gonna make it worse, and it's only gonna put you through more pain, and like every moment they had was just so powerful. And
absolutely.
So a perfect switch from Mr. Freeze back to Selena Kyle, because my Mr. Freeze is down at 91 with other Batman villains where he belongs, with Deadshot and Ra's al Ghul. So
that's
that makes
right.
more
That's
sense.
right.
So
Catwoman started about here on my list before I saw the Batman. Then I saw it and she climbed a little bit. Then I saw it again and she climbed a little bit more. I saw it a third time and I was like, okay, maybe 1 or 2 more spots. And that's kind of like, she just kept climbing ever since I saw Zoe Kravitz as the Catwoman. So she'll be popping up later on in this list for sure. But good shit. With that, on to my 63. This is where I've got Yelena Belova. I really love Florence Pugh's reprisal of Yelena Belova, and loved seeing her in Hawkeye. Loved her in Black Widow. Not much to say here on this character yet. I look forward to her being our future Black Widow, her future with Kate Bishop, who will be popping up in just a few spots for me as well. I really look forward to whatever she's got in store. That moment in Hawkeye where she blips, she comes back and she's like, "I gotta find Nat." Like, oh, honey,
you
I'm
don't.
sorry.
And that I bawled my eyes out on that scene.
That's a rough one.
And just like the whole she doesn't want to trust him, she doesn't want to believe that what he's saying is true, but she sees the pain in Hawkeye and she's like, oh my God, damn, no, you did, you loved her. She was your your teammate, you went through all this together, and oh my God, it's just such a powerful moment. And it's crazy how a lot of these characters are very close. Everyone that you're saying right now, we're having a lot that are lining up very, very close to each other. So I guess I'll save it for whenever she pops up in 3 people. So
baller.
But yeah, moving on to my 62 is where I have Cyborg. So another one that was very close. Just the design of him and just his new look, live action is just so sick. But really one of my favorite portrayals is the Teen Titans version of him. I have the Teen Titans video game on GameCube, and I always played as him because he just had the best abilities, and he was got OP in the game. I don't know, he just had a lot of good weapons on him. So I always played as him in there, which is just super fun. But then in the animated shows, he was always hilarious. Him and Beast Boy were awesome. And yeah, the fact that he's the one at the end in live action pulling apart the cubes, and he's the one doing it instead of Superman and everything. Oh my God, was so cool. And hopefully, I don't know, hopefully they just square away whatever they got going on over there at Warner Brothers, and take advantage of this character, because I don't know, of what we've gotten, it's been really good.
It's been really good.
So
I look forward to anything we might get with Cyborg, and he's got some good comic books under his belt for sure. I can't recommend Doom Patrol enough. That's a really underrated series on HBO Max. Really fun out there DC content, to be sure. and like out there, like far, far out there. And Cyborg is a big part of that series. But all right, yeah. With that, on to my 62. This is where we get our most recent movie under our belt, The Batman. This is where I've got the Riddler. He's never been he's never been my favorite Batman villain. You know, like I've always appreciated the stories he's involved in, and the Batman definitely elevated him. You know, but even so, in that movie, I've mentioned how he's probably the weakest link for me amongst everything else going on, and very fascinating part of the story and everything. Obviously, he's the driving force of the main storyline, but the character itself was just all right for me. Really interesting, really fascinating, but I wasn't like favoring him. Obviously, didn't like him much. There's this portrayal of the Riddler in the Harley Quinn animated series that I really love. They kept him Harley Quinn like kidnapped him and kept him running the power in their building by riding a bike, like a stationary bike that powered the whole thing, and he rode it for like months. There's like an ongoing joke in the second season that like he's absolutely fucking jacked because of how much he worked out.
That's awesome.
He's got these ripped fucking calves that they always come back to, which I think is hilarious. But yeah, Riddler is he's a good villain. He's funny. I love him in the Arkham games. Jim Carrey and Batman Forever.
Didn't realize that the glasses
are the same.
That was when that was pointed out. I'm like, that's just awesome. You know, that's just
fantastic,
amazing. But the Riddler, he's pretty high on my list. Not in this episode, but very high in next episode. Not due to the new movie, but really his in the Arkham games and the TV show Gotham. You get like he goes from just Edward Nigma or whatever Edward Norton. I don't know, whatever his Nashton, sure. You see him go from just a normal forensic scientist to slowly going insane, and you see his like first murder and like what that does to him, and he's like oh my god, and he, like you see the click of him like spinning these wild games and stuff like that, and it's super cool portrayal in Gotham, and especially the Arkham games for me was super cool. I grinded those games to get all those Riddler trophies, so I like all the
Riddler trophies.
The like the voice lines in the Arkham games are so cool, like how it like cuts in and out and like repeats and like reverberates and stuff like that, which is but I love the Riddler and the concept of it, so he's pretty high up on mine. But
all right, that was my 62.
My 61, staying with Batman, sticking with DC. This is where I have James Gordon. And this new movie really elevated James Gordon, but he was already going to make my list no matter what for the Arkham games and Christian Bale trilogy with Gary Oldman. Yeah, Gary Oldman. He was super amazing as James Gordon. But I don't know, this new portrayal was super cool. They nailed the partnership between Batman and James Gordon here, in my opinion, that like the Arkham games really did well.
2 years. I don't even know who you are, man.
Because you punched me in the face.
You gotta punch me in the face.
Hey, man. Oh, man.
Hey, listen up.
The little push on the chest.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, man, you could have at least pulled that punch. I did.
God. Yeah, they were amazing.
This guy is hilarious.
Yeah, I can't wait for some more James Gordon in these future movies.
Apparently, one of the spinoffs speculated from this is centered around Jeffrey Wright's Jim Gordon.
Yeah, any Jeffrey Wright I can get.
Dude, I fucking love him.
His voice is just amazing.
Follow me.
Yeah, I could listen to him talk forever.
What if? But no, yeah, Jim Gordon will be popping up a little bit later on the list for me. Just still in this episode too, but just a little bit higher up. But yeah, good shit. My 61 is where I've got Raccoon. I fucks with Rocket, and I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. it's just really interesting once I started sprawling all these characters out, like even characters that I thought like, oh yeah, I love Rocket. He's fallen into the 60s. Like that's crazy. There's a lot of characters I really, really like. You know what I'm saying? I do love the sort of tragic side of Rocket Raccoon, where like whenever they first get introduced in the prison, they're getting like hosed down, and Peter looks over and sees the cybernetic enhancements in his back and stuff that have him walking upright and everything. And it's there's a real sadness to Rocket Raccoon, and you know James Gunn excels at this tragedy ridden backstory, fun hero sort of thing.
Has a thing for
definitely in line
prosthetics.
with that.
Anything he get his hands on. Every time I just think of Rocket with the Winter Soldier arm, and like
I'll get
always,
that arm.
Like if he would wear it, you know, it'd be like just hilarious if he just hops around on it, you know, like in Rick and Morty when Morty has like the
he's got the giant arm.
Yeah. If they like that sort of thing, which would be sick. I just see like Rocket getting all these things. He gets like the Winter Soldier arm, he gets Thor's eye, you know, he just has all of these like things that connect and like keep things together, which is just cool. But yeah, Rocket's higher up on mine. Won't be in this episode, but next. But yeah, it's good. Good pick. Yeah, truly, probably another character that isn't really above everyone he is above. But just I love the Guardian.
That one I get more than Groot, to be sure. Like there is a real emotional resonance, especially. Like I think Guardians did really well, but there's just so many more emotional moments for me in Volume 2 that just hit so much harder than Volume 1 does, and Rocket gets a few of those in Volume 2. You know, they came, they really came. After he stole batteries he didn't need and was a dick all the time.
He's just a softy, you know, inside, but has to keep the hard portrayal on the outside.
Of course.
But yeah, love me some Rocket. But
the raccoon.
Moving on, my 60. This is where Yelena is for me.
Cool.
So another one, yeah, just super close. And her popping up in Hawkeye was super cool. And I don't know, her in Black Widow obviously is amazing, and just can't wait for any more Yelena moments that we're gonna get, because Val did like come up to her, or no? Yeah, she did. So like that,
Val's the one who approaches her about taking out Clint Barton. But we find out in Hawkeye that the person who wanted Yelena Belova to be hired was Eleanor, and Eleanor only did it because Kingpin wanted it. Therefore, Kingpin is connected to Eleanor, who knows Val, Val got Yelena Belova to do the job, which is like, okay, so Kingpin and Val are connected in some way, which is cool.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, because like I remember like whenever they were like, Yelena texts Kate and is like, "This is who hired me." I'm like, I remember Val coming and getting you at the end of Black Widow saying, "Don't you want the guy who killed your sister?" Just a real interesting connection there that I'm excited for them to explore. Maybe it is through Eleanor that Eleanor knows Val and it's not Kingpin, like which I think might make more sense. Because Kingpin wanted to be removed from it, which is why he gave Eleanor the job to her.
How would Eleanor know of Yelena, though? Like, I guess she's super security, you know, like high up security. Like, I guess maybe she knows of...
Or maybe Eleanor knows Val, and Val was the one who could make that connection for her. Like, Kingpin was like, I need someone to be dealt with.
I could see Val using... her security tech, like for whatever Val needs, and maybe that's the connection there. That makes sense.
Yeah, there's something there though. Like there is a connection. We just don't know what it is yet. But yeah. With that's my what was that? Oh wait, that was your 60.
Was my 60. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it might be mine because my 60 is Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop.
So staying in the same realm here with these two characters. They are such a great duo, Yelena and Kate Bishop. You know, to seeing them on screen together, Kate smacking the shit out of Yelena, thought it was hilarious. I really look forward to any Kate Bishop we're gonna get here on out. She's my new Hawkeye. You know, she's here, fucking over 30 spots above Clint Barton already. She's got one series under her belt. She's fucking awesome, and I really, really, really loved watching her on screen in Hawkeye. I look forward to anything we can get with her going forward. Charming as all hell, you know. She's lovable as shit, and I think her apartment. I think she's she's a good foil to Yelena. You know, Yelena's a really funny character, but she takes herself a little bit more seriously than Kate takes herself. So it's like it's a good little it's a good duo there.
Yeah, they're like whenever they were fighting, going back and forth, and they had their like little moments in between. They were like, "That was really cool. That was
good. That was good hit.
Good move.
You hit hard.
Like
that was just cool move.
Yeah, their dynamic was super cool and awesome. And I guess Kate was my where is she? She was my 95. But that's I really base mine off of like how much we've gotten of the character and like time wise and stuff. But yeah, I think she's definitely going to climb in the future because I hope she's going to be a pivotal role and become one of the new Avengers, whatever young Avengers, whatever they become to be in this new group moving forward. So, oh yeah, I'm ready for any more Kate Bishop for sure.
I look forward to it indeed. But yeah, Kate Bishop at my 60.
59 for me is Odin. This is where I have Odin, and can't tell me otherwise that this is the man that has had every Infinity Stone before Thanos did. This dude's been on it. Odin, whether he had them all at the same time, maybe not, but he's had every single one of them in possession at
least at some point in time.
And that gauntlet down there, I know it's
fake.
Yeah. But the fact is, the mold is there. You know, why would the mold be there? You know, that mold.
The thing for me that was so fascinating about that choice was Thor Ragnarok came out before Infinity War.
Well, so is it like? Did they say that it was a mistake or something like that? Like that they should because I feel like there is some confusion with that post-credit scene or people think that Thanos was the first to make the gauntlet in the mold, but like I think it's way cooler if that mold has just always been there, you know, and Odin had a gauntlet for himself and maybe he tried to go for it, whether he got all the stones or not.
Maybe but so. I guess maybe the mistake then would be the size.
Yeah, that's the only thing that doesn't make sense is that unless someone else was wearing it other than Odin, but who would wear that other than Odin? And who's that big?
Yeah, my thing is they also address it in Infinity War where Eitri crafted the gauntlet for Thanos, the giant dwarf.
Does that mean he
did he create the mold or did he just
did he just make him a new one? Because Stormbreaker, he created that for Thor, but that mold has always been there, and that's how I think of that.
That's probably fair. Fair.
I think maybe the big gauntlet could make sense if it was like the ice giant going for the gauntlet, and Thor stopped that from happening and just had the empty gauntlet, you know, to keep there or something like that. Like, because I mean, there were enemies, you know, there, and who I don't know. I could see there's a lot of stuff they could do with Odin. He's plenty connected. So, but yeah, I love another Westworld connection there.
Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, he's so wise, man. All these,
legendary.
Yeah, but yeah. Odin for my 59.
Love that. Love that. My 59, back in the DC realm, this is where I got Aquaman. Love me some Jason Momoa. We already went over Aquaman pretty much in my entirety for what I appreciate about the character when we talked about him a little bit ago for you. Love the costume design. That Aquaman costume he rocks in that movie when he becomes full-fledged Aquaman is fucking brilliant. It looks awesome. And there's an animated Aquaman series on HBO Max now that I'm kind of digging. It's cute. It's funny. But that's more in the vision of the old version of Aquaman, the blonde guy. That's more like regal and less dude bro. They did desperately need to revamp the character, and Jason Momoa was the perfect route to go.
Yeah, that like kind of Killmonger, like little pips, out of little bumps, like on his suit. That like make him like, yeah, that suit is like so cool.
That's hard as fuck. And his dad being Tem, his dad being Boba, it's fucking legendary.
Damn, what, man! All these cool connections, man. His tattoos too.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Are so cool. Yeah, I'm looking just at pictures of him right now. He just looks badass in every single one of them.
Really interestingly enough, when I rewatched Aquaman recently, they actually like he speaks Maori in it, like Tamara Morrison's native tongue. Yeah.
Wow. Man, I don't know. That's just Tim is just so cool. Tim's so cool.
I love Tim.
And the Obi-Wan
Give me
trailer?
all the Tamara Morrison. I want Tamara Morrison to be Old Man Logan.
Oh yeah.
In the MCU. And like make Laura Kinney Wolverine. But make Tim Old Man Logan.
Was that Tim's head in the Obi-Wan trailer?
Oh yeah.
It had like tech on the back of the head, like did you see that? Have you seen that?
I did not. I did
like
not see that.
Like there's some enhancement, some mod, something that looks, and like could be Echo. Like the live version, but I don't know. It could. That's what I'm thinking. Like I looked at, like I went on YouTube, like on my computer, like and blasted the quality and like went frame by frame and everything. And like when you're looking at the back of his head, it's like does look like Tim's head, and there's like some cybernetic something back there.
Okay. Dope.
But yeah, that's why Odin is my 59.
That's why Aquaman was my
50. Sorry. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, well, there was a connection to be had there. There wasn't nothing. It wasn't that thin.
Yeah. Another close guy that we had. My 58 is Wong. So where Wong lies for me, and I think it just like him becoming the temporary Sorcerer Supreme, and all of his just funny moments, like him in the library where he's Doctor Strange stealing all the books behind him and stuff, and like all they're cute moments that they have together. Like their dynamic is super cool, and I can't wait to see. I don't know what it is in Multiverse of Madness, but seems that Wong is gonna like be against Strange in this, and they're not really gonna be buddies. I don't know, at least from the trailer. Like it
seems like they've got something of an opposition in some realm anyway.
But yeah, I love me some Wong. Doctor Strange again. Like one of the strongest solo movies in Marvel in my opinion. And I don't know, every time I rewatch it, I just Doctor Strange and Wong. I love them more and more and more. More to like I don't know, all these characters are just so that's another one. I just realized that could have made the list, but it's all right. But yeah,
it'll be okay.
Wong at 58 for me.
All right. With that, on to my 58. This is where I have the Bat's father figure. Where I've got Alfred Pennyworth. I love me some Alfred, and I considered having him higher up. But we're talking comic book characters, and at a certain point, I'm like, I like the guys who are powerful. Boom, pat, pow. Like And I don't know, maybe he does belong higher on this list. And this one more than the Star Wars one is like subject to change depending on what the fuck I've been watching lately. Like, but you know, Alfred Pennyworth's been in a lot of content I've been watching lately, and here he is at 58. So who knows?
I mean, he was an MI6 agent. That dude, like he's badass. Like he's not
he's with it.
There's a reason he was Thomas Wayne's butler. Like he was chosen for how badass he was. He saved Thomas Wayne's life. I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna tell you, we need to get on that Pennyworth series that's on HBO Max now, because it's him in his younger days as an MI6 agent.
Ooh.
Like, it could be really fucking cool. I really need to get into that. But I loved Andy Serkis in the most recent interpretation of Alfred in the Batman. He did a really good job. I would have liked more of him there, but you know, it doesn't get much better for me than Michael Caine. That's my Alfred. I think it kind of always will be. That's why do we fall down to get up? I love that shit.
I have this fantasy I play over in my head. I'm drinking my cup of tea, and I look across the way, and I see you sitting there. Yeah, we don't say anything. We just know, I just know,
and I leave, and then that's how it ends, and you're like, "Fuck, yes!" And you know, Christian Bale's Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Selena Kyle go there, so that can happen, and it's like, oh my god, oh, that makes me so happy.
And whenever Bruce comes back to the mansion, he's like all pissed off, and like Alfred's like crying at him. He's like, they have like that moment where like on the stairs in Wayne Manor, where like, what was happening? What was the I think it was Dark Knight Rises or Batman Begins. Which one is? It's not in Dark Knight. But they have this moment where they're like arguing on the steps at nighttime in Wayne, like in the mansion. I can't remember the context.
I think it's Rises because they have a big falling out in Rises.
Yeah, it's that fallout moment that they have. Like, and I remember like when Alfred starts to cry. Yeah, well, like when Alfred starts to cry there, like it like every time it's just like like gets me to tears. But the most recent Alfred moment that got me to freaking tears. First time I saw it, I ugly cried, man. In the theater, it like the hand extension.
Oh man, I cried my ass off.
Holy shit, man! Like the only other cry moment in the movie that was like as silent as this one wasn't a silent cry. This one I heard like sniffles and like during it, like you heard other people cry during this moment. But then the silent cry was whenever he like cut the power line. Like that was like the two noticeable like silent-ish cry moments in the movie. And yeah, Alfred, he was my 78, and that was before this movie. I'd say he probably deserves a little bit higher up, especially after that performance in there, and can't wait to get more.
No, yeah. My last moment, one of my favorite Alfred moments. It's a little moment in The Dark Knight. Rachel gives him that letter. Where she chose Harvey over Bruce, and he's like, "How will I know when it's the right time to give it to him?" And she's like, "It's open, like it's not sealed. Like you can." And I love that
she
too.
Trusts Alfred.
Like,
that
she's like, "You're Alfred. You're cool, man. Like you can read my letter. It's all right. He's gonna tell you what's in it anyway if you show him." So, but the moment where he's sitting there after she's died, Bruce Wayne, he's sitting there in his full Batman costume without the cowl and the cape, and he's just like, "She was gonna choose me. Harvey can never know." And Alfred had already had the letter on the breakfast platter for him, and he went ahead and just grabbed it right up, and he was like, "What was that?" He was like, "Oh, it can wait." Love that. Just the looking out for Bruce in this moment. He doesn't need to know that. He doesn't need to know
him. Like,
oh
my god. Like, yeah, that Alfred, whether Bruce wants to admit it, like that's his father. like that, like
Yeah.
his like true like who's made him who he is. Like I don't know, Thomas Wayne has made Bruce Wayne who he is, because of his legacy and stuff. But like Alfred really molds him into who he becomes. So
I was watching the Lego Batman movie yesterday. When was the most recent time you watched the Lego Batman movie?
it's been a while.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you, go ahead and rewatch it. It's one of the best Batman movies there is. And Alfred in that, Will Arnett's Batman snaps at him like, what do you know about having a surrogate son? And he takes a step back and like drops his jaw like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I'm basically your dad. Like, I love Alfred and Bruce Wayne's relationship, and I hate when it strains. I hate when it doesn't feel comfy. I hate when it's like, man, they're at odds. That's a rough one. But when they're warm with each other, it's as happy as it gets. I think there's a moment like Batman and Robin where George Clooney and that Alfred hug with Robin and Batgirl, and they all embrace, and it's like this is just heartwarming. But yeah, that's where I've got Alfred Pennyworth here at 58.
Yeah, I'm currently getting the Lego Batman movie pulled up so I can watch it right after this, because that's a really good idea. Sounded good to me. So I got that.
I just gave that viewing yesterday.
So yeah, but Alfred, that's definitely maybe in the future going to climb for me, or definitely probably already higher than he was my 78. So definitely higher for me. But good pick. That was your
58.
58. So my 57. This is where I have Mobius from Loki. I don't know, just kind of like a Jimmy Woo kind of character, like an instantly lovable like fan favorite. And we haven't,
wow.
We need that jet ski moment, like that's what everyone's holding out for. We just got to see that man with the biggest smile on a jet ski. He's going to be so happy when he's on that jet ski, and like, I hope, what I really hope is that it's not him like riding off into the horizon to his death in a jet ski. Like, I really want it to just be him like happy, just like living his life like he's out of the loop or whatever.
I can't imagine that they're gonna have him ride off.
I really I hope it's not a sad, or I guess like I hope it's not a sad moment whenever he's on the jet ski. I hope it's like just him in a normal life, like outside of the TVA, outside of everything, like just a normal life on a jet ski, or he's like a jet ski salesman that like just takes him out for spins all the time or something. I don't know. But I don't know.
Perfect combination of form and function, man.
And I don't know. A character that I never expected, to be so connected with, but like the relationship between him and Loki is super strong. And like they're whenever he's like, you're my favorite, but actually, talking to Sylvie, but Loki thinks it's him, and like just all these little cute moments that they have. I don't know. I can't wait to see what happens to Mobius, and hope it comes of him. So,
all right.
Oh yeah,
all right. That's a good one. I wish I would have had him on here. He didn't make my list.
Oh.
I loved Mobius. I loved Owen Wilson. It's just one that happened to slip through the cracks. I didn't think too hard in the Loki realm. I just went with Loki later on in the list. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. On my 57, I'm sticking in the DC and the Batman. This is where I've got Carmine Falcone. I love me some Carmine Falcone. He's a really interesting character, and beyond, I mean, the Batman's far and away his best on-screen portrayal with John Turturro. I mean, he hasn't not much competition there in terms of on-screen portrayals of Carmine Falcone. There was like a brief Falcone in The Dark Knight, and then Batman Begins. But like, other than that, like he didn't get a story in the Dark Knight trilogy. He got a story here. His place in the Batman was the emotional pivot point for Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle's characters, for my money. and he's the center of the entire conspiracy that Riddler's unraveling. Like
the rat.
He's the rat. He's
a
a rat to Alada.
Yeah, man. Damn.
Rat with wings.
Falcon. A stool pigeon. Like a stool
Falcon
pigeon.
has wings.
But in Gotham, in the Netflix series, he's played by John Doman or Dahman. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Don't know if you know him, but like his portrayal in there is also like super good. He has a huge storyline in Gotham, and he's always like a pretty big part of it.
John Doman. Yeah, I've seen him in stuff. I don't know what I would have. The Boys. Probably saw him in The Boys.
Yeah, he plays Falcone really, really well. But I will say that still this new portrayal is way better.
It's super strong. And I after watching the Batman, I've been on a huge Batman comics kick where I've just been tearing through. Like I went and signed up for the DC Universe Infinite fucking plan, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna read all this now. And I read The Long Halloween, and it's centered around the murders of people within the Falcone family. And it's Carmine grappling with that and fearing that he's coming up or who's dying next. Like it's a really, really fucking cool story. And I mean, I don't love a mob boss, obviously, but the mob boss characters are pretty cool. They can be pretty fun, and Carmine Falcone is no exception. So I got him there at 57.
Yeah, moving on to my 56. This is where I have my Nightcrawler. This is the start of some of my X-Men crew here. Only a couple, kind of the lower level X-Men for me, but still, obviously it's 56, the start of them. So really, really well, or really, really good. And I'm, very, very newish to X-Men just in general. But of what I remember of watching before as a child, like Nightcrawler just always was so cool to me. Like the concept of just a teleport, like someone who can just teleport, and how he like can grab people, take them with him, and the fact that he's like going through this other dimension sort of thing, and like that's why he can't go through walls, and like he has to see the clear path and like stuff. It's like that's just so cool, even though like it doesn't make sense in a lot of times where he just goes through like the
and a lot of times he goes ahead and does it anyway.
Yeah,
it's like we're gonna ignore that it happened.
Like when he goes through a plane, like in and out of a plane, is that really a wall? Is like, does he see the path there, or is it just convenient to tell?
Like he gets a window that's big enough for him to see out of. Maybe you're cool.
True. Just give him like X-ray vision, and is that like OP? Is that it? Is that like fix his problem?
Wraps at that point.
I don't know. Give him some X-ray goggles. It's over.
That's perfect.
But
perfect.
He's my 56.
It's perfect. And my 56, I'm staying in the, if you're looking for some more X-Men content, head to Mutants Monthly #2, released at the end of September, where we discuss Something Blue with Nightcrawler and Mystique. This is my 56. I love this. I love me some Mystique, and I love Jennifer Lawrence's portrayal in the reprisal movies for the X-Men. Definitely elevated that character to a level it had never been before for me. The expansion on her in the comics has been really awesome. Just a really powerful character, the idea behind her struggling with her appearance, and then ultimately embracing it completely. She was the naked blue lady when I was little. She wasn't Mystique or Raven. I didn't know her fucking name. She was the naked blue lady. And seeing how she gets to that point with Magneto being like no, I like the real you, and she goes to Jennifer Lawrence, and then she's like, no, the real you, and it's into Mystique form, and I really love it. I really love her character in those movies, and she's just really strong. So yeah, that's my 56 in Mystique.
Yeah, I have Mystique a little higher up on my list. She'll come in next episode. But I'm sticking with some more X-Men here. My 55 is Rogue. And I think whenever I think of Rogue, I really think of like the Cure storyline, which was really cool. I thought it was like a really interesting part of the movie, and such a cool dynamic just in X-Men lore. just the conflict of mutants and them just feeling so out of place, and this cure being like, oh, I can finally just become, normal forever.
And it makes a lot of sense with a character like Rogue.
Yeah. So
like, you can't touch, you can't kiss, you can't hug, you can't it's just not gonna happen.
Damn. Yeah, it's but yeah, I love Rogue, and especially in the X-Men animated series that I like. I haven't watched it all, but the chunk that I have watched, yeah, she's awesome. I love the accent, in there.
Oh, like Southern Belle.
Like, oh my gosh, I like that Rogue is so much better.
Oh yeah,
than Demi Lovato. I can only see Demi Lovato in the live action Rogue. Like I
that's so funny.
I cannot unsee it. But yeah, that's
yeah. Rogue will be popping up on my list later. It's funny. I've got like a couple different cells of X-Men. This is the first one. It's only a couple here. My 55 is Storm. To build on yours, so we got a few X-Men here right in a row with Nightcrawler, Mystique, Rogue, and Storm, which I think is cool. And the only reason Storm falls a little bit is that I don't think she's had a story play out on screen as compelling as could possibly be. She's always just kind of there to be the cool weather goddess. I don't think she's gotten a lot of expansion beyond that in the movies. She's just always kind of there. I really look forward to the adaptations when we finally get to dig deeper into her character. I love her in the animated series, such a strong and powerful presence. I love her in the comic books. X-Men is one of probably my most read comic book cell. Across all of Marvel, all of DC. I probably read more X-Men than I've read anything. And Storm's one of my fucking favorites. I think she's an absolute badass, and I love whenever she's married to T'Challa in lore and is the Queen of Wakanda. I think that's a really awesome story there.
That's so cool.
But yeah, Aurora Storm. That's my that's mine.
That was your 55?
Yes.
Because my 54 is Storm.
Nice.
Just continuing on the X-Men trail, which is awesome. So not a perfect lineup, but pretty. I mean, that's probably
as close as we'll get in this one.
That's pretty good. Yeah, especially
doing this list, it's even crazier that we had two line up in the Star Wars. Like, that's insane shit.
And it was like, oh, what's his name?
Chirrut.
One with the Force. Yeah, that's insane that it was him too.
I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me.
But
the Force.
I don't know, that's kind of Storm lining up here. One away. That's kind of
probably as close as we'll get here.
That's still pretty crazy. But yeah, everything you said, like her animated series, like the chunk that I've seen has been really awesome to see her in there, and just her look, her costume design, her just everything about her, like
epic.
Is so cool. So, but yeah, you covered Storm pretty well. But yeah, my 54.
My 54. This is where I've got James Gordon. It's where I've got Jim Gordon. Loved Jeffrey Wright's Jim Gordon. He became my favorite Jim Gordon pretty quickly. But not to take away from Gary Oldman's Jim Gordon, because that's I'd say so far the most consistently well adapted character. You know what I'm saying? Across Batman. He's they knock him out of the park with Gary Oldman and Jeffrey Wright here. And you touched on him pretty well earlier. I don't have much to expand upon with it. I do love his partnership with Batman, and they did bring it to life really well in the Batman with Pattinson and Jeffrey Wright. But yeah,
I guess
I don't know much else on.
One moment that I didn't talk about was, whenever he faked his death, came back, and then got Joker, and we got you now, you son of a bitch. When he's pointing the gun in his face,
he goes home to his wife, and she smacks him in the face and hugs him. And he's like, I had to keep you safe. I couldn't. No, yeah, Jim Gordon's a real one, man.
Oh my God. And whenever he realizes that it's Bruce, he's like, you gave a kid, a coat, or like you gave a kid the
you wrapped a coat around
Yeah.
a kid and told him everything would be okay.
Yeah.
And he was like, "What?"
Took you that long to figure it out, though. Come on, you like been talking with like I guess I don't know. Kind of mentioned like it's been 2 years. I still don't know who you are. I don't know. I guess it isn't so obvious that it's Bruce Wayne. We just know. It's like second. It's just knowledge that we're born with.
And
That's
like there's something to the idea that like, especially in the Batman, Bruce Wayne is clearly a recluse. He's not been outside in 2 years, according to.
Does that make it more obvious?
I think not. I think it makes it like, I mean, like if you like really, really sit down and go, all right, who the fuck do we think it is? And you're just brainstorming all the possible options. Maybe it comes up, but like if someone stays out of the public light enough, they're not going to get thought about. Like
I mean, his story makes sense. His parents are dead, and he's depressed and living in his mansion with his billions of dollars. Okay, yeah.
There are rich recluses. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Like it's
yeah. But yeah, that's interesting.
You're a damn good cop, Jim Gordon.
Man, yeah, I love and the Arkham games. He's just strong everywhere. Everywhere his character pops up, it's just perfect.
I brought it to the Harley Quinn animated series a little bit ago for Riddler, but Jim Gordon in that show is fucking hilarious because he's like they take every character's like biggest attributes and amplify them like 50 times. So he's like a real sad, pathetic guy who like can't please his wife and is like super unhappy at home.
Damn.
Like he's super lonely. And like he wants Batman to be his best friend, but Batman won't reciprocate. But privately, Batman has him as like his screensaver at home, like a picture with him and Jim Gordon. It's super fucking funny. Like that might be the purely funniest DC content with the actually best good jokes.
Yeah, I recently just watched a Killing Joke.
Ooh, yeah.
And him in there, he's pathetic too. He like I don't know, he kind of just went through a traumatic experience. He saw his daughter get shot and then raped. And then was taken by the Joker and like put through all the insanity roller coaster.
Got dark
and,
in
like,
the Killing Joke,
damn,
for sure.
So Jim Gordon went through it, but still at the end was like, gotta be by the book. Do it by the book, Batman. Don't do anything stupid in there. He still held true
to his principles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Good. Yeah. So that's where I got Jim Gordon. 54.
My 53. This is I think the start of the Guardians crew for me. I think. And this is where Star-Lord is, where Peter Quill is. So the bottom of my Guardians crew. You kind of touched on it, Chris Pratt. It's just Chris Pratt being Chris Pratt. At the end of the day, and he does have some serious moments or whatever, but it's really for the comedy and that he's there.
He is one of the most fascinating conundrums though, because like it's not an incredibly well acted role. Like he does good enough, like as a lot of Marvel actors do. Like it's like if your performance isn't taking me out and making me go, wow, this is bad, then you're doing fine. Like you're doing good enough. And he's got one of the most well written characters in the MCU. That is one of the easily least likable for me, which is just really interesting. And I don't know what my beef is, but there's just something about him where I'm like, I don't know, I just don't completely like you.
Half planet, half human, half of me that's stupid.
Planet.
Yeah, that's all of you. Like I don't know, he's so cool potentially. I don't know, but I love the Guardians movies. And he is part of it. He's the central role, so there is something to it. He's not all bad. He's not terrible. But I don't know. Just compared to the rest of the Guardians crew, he's just kind of a side character, even though he's the leader, in air quotes, of
Yeah. He's just a real interesting character, and he has been exceptionally well written. I've loved his arc over the course of these first couple movies, and I'm curious if they really want to get out there with the stakes in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Do we see the end of Peter Quill potentially? It's been said that a major character will die in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So, like, who knows?
Thor.
Ooh, that'd be.
No, Thor: Love and Thunder though.
That comes before Volume 3 though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Love and Thunder comes out this year.
Oh shit, man, we're getting moving now with some of these Marvel movies coming out here.
Oh hell yeah!
But yeah, Peter Quill. Hopefully,
good choice.
Hopefully, gets stronger in his future roles. But
good choice. Good choice.
Mm-hmm.
My 53. This is where I've got the Flash. I've never been big on the speedsters, and I've never been big on Flash, but I really did like the Flash CW series for a few of those seasons. It gets kind of out there. They rein it back in. It gets out there again. They rein it back in. It's like it's a real up and down experience with those CW shows. Some stuff's really good. Some stuff's really bad. But Grant Gustin as the Flash has been one of my favorite on-screen live-action portrayals of that superhero. Ezra Miller and Zack Snyder's Justice League did pretty solid. I enjoyed that. But it's back to that Justice League cartoon when I was little. That's the defining version of Flash for me.
I love the run. The
the
slow motion run. I guess I remember someone saying like there is some sense behind it. Like it's not just I don't know. There's some scientific explanation behind why he's actually like doing that or something like that. But
he like swings his arms.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, the Flash. I think. Let's see where. I don't think. Yeah, I think this is the one that I forgot. Yeah. This was like the one. I think I even mentioned it last episode that I was like, oh my god, I didn't even put the Flash on here. But he should definitely be on here. I don't know why he's not. But like I didn't really watch the new Flash show. I just watched Arrow until the Flash came into it, and I was all confused, and then I stopped watching both. Or like stopped watching everything. So like that's kind of how my experience went with that. So
I tried really hard with the CW ones, man. It's just you get to a point in those shows where you go, like the crossover episodes worked if you were watching them week to week.
Yeah.
But they are a nightmare to deal with if you do not know which comes first, which comes next. Like it can be an annoyance to be sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the Flash. That's my 53.
My 52. This is where I have my Yondu. It felt right to put Peter Quill and Yondu together. So that's just. I think mainly. I think I placed Yondu here first, and then was like, okay, this is where Star-Lord can go. Down here, it kind of felt right for him too, for me. So, but yeah, we covered Yondu pretty well. Whenever you talked about him, whenever he was up for you, but yeah, that funeral, like just one of the strongest moments, like in the MCU, like for me, and just that his character design is just so cool, and
an all-time badass.
And what if just the voice is so like iconic to him, like it's gonna be weird like hearing Yondu in any other voice, like if I don't know, like in the future. Yeah. So, but love me some Yondu. Definitely a highlight in the Guardians movies.
Love that. Love that.
My 52.
My 52. This is where I have Owatu, the Watcher. I do fuck with the Watcher. I liked What If a lot, and he the way he ultimately can't hold himself back. He has to intervene. It's a really interesting story he's got there. And again, Jeffrey Wright, fucking love this guy. He'll pop up as much as we possibly can get him in here. But if I could put Bernard somewhere on here, I would. I love Jeffrey Wright, his voice acting ability, the gravitas he brings to the role of the Watcher.
Oh,
it
just doesn't make sense to have like, I don't know. I was trying to think of anyone else who could voice that role, and it's like, yeah, Morgan Freeman, him. I really wouldn't want anyone else for a voice for that role. Like, he just fits it so well.
And it's crazy because, like, if there was anyone else that I'd be like, okay, he already has a role in the MCU. Odin, Anthony Hopkins. I think that'd be dope. But
Westworld, man. Jeez.
Yeah, they got the voices over there.
Yes, the wise, smart.
Come with me and ponder the question. What if? But yeah, that's my 52.
Already say Uatu, or is he? No, okay, yeah, he's.
I was gonna say he's probably a lot higher on your list.
Yes, I figured. I was like, I don't think I've said him. I hope I haven't said him because, yeah, he's not in this episode, not in next episode.
Baller,
so,
love that.
Oh yeah, love me some Uatu.
This is it, is it not? We're on the 51.
51. This is it, and it is a Batman character, and it's going DC. This is where Poison Ivy is for me. And the Gotham games, especially her character design in there is like so good, and her like boss battle is sick. And in Gotham, the TV show, as young Poison Ivy, is like a really cool play on her. And mainly, I kind of go on a DC run here in a little bit, but it'll start next episode. But I don't know, kind of these group of people are mainly for their like their design and like their look and just like their iconicism in Batman rather than like their storylines necessarily. But not to say Poison Ivy's storyline isn't good.
She needs to be modernized a little bit.
Yeah,
you know, and there have been places where she has been. And it's been real cool. It's been real cool to see. Like, I love her in the Harley Quinn animated series, as I brought it back to a couple times. But yeah, this is one that will not be appearing for me next week, but the week after. I got Poison Ivy pretty high on my list. I love me some Poison Ivy. It's a great place to end this episode, though. Poison Ivy. It's a good one to top it off for you. I'm gonna stick with you in DC for my 51. I'll top off this episode with John Constantine. One of the, we got Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch and Agatha Harkness on the Marvel side of things. I don't hear enough about John Constantine on the DC side of things. That's my warlock. That's that witch right there. I love that man. And him being played by Matt Ryan and DC's Legends of Tomorrow and Arrow and all this is really what inspired a love for Constantine. But then I went back and watched Constantine with Keanu Reeves, one of the few comic book roles that he has reprised. So obviously I'm going to have a love for him. I've read some Constantine, and he's just got these really cool horror tones. Deals with hell a lot, like beasts of hell and demons and shit like that. Casts satanic rituals to return people to hell and stuff like that.
Okay.
A very interesting character. I can't recommend enough. And DC's Legends of Tomorrow is a really fun way to get familiar with a lot of underrated DC characters. It's definitely not one that I'm like, oh, critically, this is one of the best shows I've ever seen, but it's undeniably fun. It's undeniably fun.
Yeah, I haven't really heard about him at all since until right now, until you've explained his character. So
yeah, Constantine, man, it's definitely one that has grown on me a lot. I mean, and not necessarily grown on me. I watched him in, I think the first time I saw him was in Arrow, and and I was like, oh, that character's dope. Then I watched Legends of Tomorrow, and I'm like, okay, I really fucking love this guy. And going back and reading his comics has only enhanced him even more. So that's where I top off this part 2 of Top 100 with our 75 through 51.
A lengthy one.
Oh, yes, indeed. Only the top 50 remain. And I can only imagine how long those will be.
It's just like, so every character has their moment, you know, and like you got like, just
we spent some time early on. And we kind of do that with these episodes where we spend like an hour on like the first 5 to 10 characters and then have to really ramp it up in speed. But
because the Eternals, starting with the Eternals and my love for the Eternals,
all about the Eternals and the lore and everything that goes into it and what could come of it in the MCU, and just it gets a lot. It gets to be a lot, but this one was a good one, and I look forward to getting in part 3 and 4 with our top 50s. That'll be a lot of fun. Very much so. Looking forward to that. But with that, we conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It is always a pleasure.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find over 24 hours of exclusive content, along with some artwork that I put up over there. All that money goes back into making sure I can make the podcast happen. It costs money, and I don't get paid for it. So the Patreon's huge. If you would, head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast, leave a 5-star rate and review to help us grow, share with a friend, and remember, peace, love, and bloom. Go ahead and rewatch Eternals.